Chapter 1 Rebirth the day before the end of the world. Lin Feng, please quickly send this to room 404 of the Imperial Hotel. Tiantian needs it urgently. Jiangning University, in front of the girls' dormitory building. A girl wearing a cute JK uniform, with two ponytails on her head, a pair of white long legs and black Balenciaga stockings, whose appearance could be rated at least 80 points, stuck out her tongue at Lin Feng mischievously and then handed a tightly wrapped box to him. The girl's name is Chen Ziyi. She is the roommate and best friend of Lin Feng's girlfriend Pan Tiantian. In school, she is considered a well-known beauty. Moreover, all the boyfriends she dated were athletes or rich second generations. Because Lin Feng had little money and was from the countryside, she always looked at him with disgust, and she often tried to flirt with him in front of Pan Tiantian. Why did you suddenly change your attitude today and become so nice? However, Lin Feng didn't think much about it, but looked up at the sky. What is Tiantian doing in the hotel in broad daylight? Are you reviewing your lessons? The Daihao Hotel seems to be a 5-star hotel. I heard that it costs 1,000 yuan to stay there for one night. Where does Tiantian get so much money? Hey, Lin Feng, stop wasting time and send it over quickly. If you're any later, someone might die. Seeing Lin Feng was hesitant, Chen Ziyi hurriedly urged him. Someone died. Is Tiantian injured? Lin Feng immediately panicked and rode his electric scooter for delivering food towards the Emperor Hotel. Ellipsis. Royal Hotel, room 404. When Lin Feng arrived at the hotel, he found that the door of the room was not locked, so he rushed in directly. As a result, he saw his girlfriend Pan Tiantian. Also among them is Tang Long, the famous rich second generation in the school. Didn't we agree to review our lessons? How so? Tiantian, you. Lin Feng was stunned. Lin Feng, why are you here? Pan Tiantian asked with lingering fear when she saw Lin Feng. Haha, I asked him to come. Tang Long sneered, got off Pan Tiantian, walked towards Lin Feng, and snatched the box from his hand. Tiantian, didn't you say you were scared? Tang Long opened the box, took out a small square plastic bag, and proudly held it in the air to show it off. Seeing this, Pan Tiantian's expression immediately changed and she asked. Lin Feng, what do you mean? I came to the hotel today because Mr. Tang promised to arrange a job for me in a foreign company. I'm about to graduate, and I have to consider our future. But you actually brought this thing to humiliate me. Lin Feng, are you worthy of me? Lin Feng's face turned pale and he felt very weak. Isn't it just for Pan Tiantian to live a good life that he delivers food for 10 hours a day? As a result, Pan Tiantian betrayed him. Now, you even have the nerve to blame him for showing up at the wrong time. Haha, you useless bastard, do you hate me especially now? Sometimes, you really should look for the reasons within yourself. Have you studied hard during your 4 years in college? Has your part-time job salary increased? Oh, I forgot, you're a loser. Even if you work all your life, you still can't earn as much as my pocket money in a year. Since you don't have the strength, don't blame me. Tang Long laughed at the side. Tang Long, I'm going to fight you. Lin Feng's blood rushed back, his face flushed blue and red, and he rushed towards Tang Long. As a result, Tang Long turned around and easily dodged it. With a twist of his mouth, he sneered, you're looking for excitement, right? I'll satisfy you. He immediately raised his fist and smashed it towards Lin Feng. Tang Long is a sports student with a muscular body. In front of him, Lin Feng is just a piece of fragile skin. He fainted after just 2 punches. Several hours passed. Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and stood up from the ground. Under the dim light, his eyes appeared exceptionally deep and distant, and the resolute look that emanated from them made him look completely different from before. Where is this? Why does it look familiar? Could this be the room Pan Tiantian and Tang Long spent the day before the apocalypse? Lin Feng's body shook, and he felt a pain all over his body, even his bones. Only then did he remember that he had just been beaten up by Tang Long. Didn't I get hit head-on by the ultimate move of the 12-winged ultimate Dark Corpse King in the final battle and die on the battlefield? Why are you here? Could it be Reborn? Lin Feng took out his cell phone and checked the current time. May 8, 2025, 4:13 p.m. There are still 25 hours and 27 minutes until the apocalypse. Sure enough, I've returned to the day before the apocalypse. Lin Feng glanced around the room and found no trace of Tang Long and Pan Tiantian except for the messy bed sheets. I guess the two of them found another place to continue having fun. Fuck that bitch Pan Tiantian, and that bastard Tang Long. If I hadn't been persecuted by them in my previous life, I would have broken through to the Supreme Realm long ago. In the final battle, the human camp wouldn't have lost, and Blue Planet wouldn't have been shattered by that 12-winged ultimate Dark Corpse King in one blow. The scene before his death was still vivid in his mind. Lin Feng, one of the strongest men in the world, used his body to resist the ultimate move of the 12-winged ultimate Dark Corpse King, but it was of no avail. Countless rays of death fell on the earth's crust instantly cracked, and endless magma gushed out from the core of the earth. Behind Lin Feng, the shelter he protected was filled with cries of grief, and it seemed like it had turned into a purgatory. The once beautiful blue star has faded into obscurity and turned into a dead star. Humanity will perish from now on. In his previous life, after the apocalypse broke out, Lin Feng awakened two SSS-level talents, namely God-level recovery and fighting will upgrade. The former gives him the ability to be almost immortal, and he can be resurrected even if only one cell is left. The latter can gain experience points through battle and upgrade any of their own attributes and skills. The combination of these two talents could have enabled him to grow rapidly, and even reach the legendary Supreme Realm before the final battle, so that he would be able to fight even against the 12-winged ultimate Dark Corpse King. As a result, Lin Feng didn't know what had happened to him at the time, and he foolishly told Pan Tiantian about his awakened talent as soon as possible. He asked her to leave Tang Long and said that he was capable of protecting her. Damn, this lickspittle will never die a good death. The result was obvious. Pan Tiantian was not moved. Instead, she drugged him and knocked him out. Then, she teamed up with Tang Long, pierced his scapula, and locked him in a rusty iron cage. Because this couple found out, Lin Feng's blood can cure almost any negative effects. It can even enhance the talents of the awakened. In the end times, this is an extremely rare resource, and it is very profitable. Just keep watering Lin Feng every day. As for the food, they were not sure how strong Lin Feng was, so in order to keep Lin Feng in this weak state, they never gave him anything to eat. Anyway, you won't die. Chapter 2: The Talent to Plunder Everything. In this way, Lin Feng was controlled by this couple for 3 years. During these 3 years, he was in a daze, just holding on by a breath. Finally, during a zombie tidal wave, a 5-winged zombie king was unexpectedly born. It devoured Tang Long, who originally had only B-level talent but became a big boss by drinking Lin Feng's blood for a long time, without leaving any residue. As for Pan Tiantian, she was not an awakened person. Without Tang Long's protection, she became food for ordinary zombies. Lin Feng was also rescued by Zhao Yingshe, who came with him to hunt down the 5-winged Corpse King. Although Lin Feng has an almost extraordinary talent, 3 years have passed since the beginning of the apocalypse. Many resources and opportunities already have owners. Moreover, in the midst of turmoil, the awakened people each established their own forces and built a relatively stable class society. Lin Feng missed the best time, and 3 years of imprisonment hurt his foundation, but with his talent, he finally rose and became one of the strongest people in the world. But, that's all. In the final battle, the human camp suffered a crushing defeat because they did not have the Supreme Being. In the end, they even failed to save their home planet. If Lin Feng were given another chance, he would definitely be able to break through to the supreme level. Now that I've been reborn, do I still have my talent? Lin Feng closed his eyes slightly, concentrated his mind, and felt the surge of qi and blood in his body. Soon, an illusory panel appeared in his mind. Name: Lin Feng. Race: human. Talent: Sequence 1, plunder. Plundering is killing, and killing is plundering. Kill the opponent and you will gain everything they possess. Skills: none. Open black lens bracket weapon, none. Close black lens bracket. Battle pet, none. System: numerous children and blessings system. Since the host has come to his senses and is no longer a bootlicker, this system will automatically bind to the host and lend a helping hand. Seeing this, Lin Feng was a little confused. Isn't his awakened talent God-level recovery and upgraded fighting spirit? How did it become Sequence 1, plunder? However, this talent seems incredible enough. Killing is plundering. Simple and crude, this coincides with Lin Feng's philosophy. Lin Feng knew that talents were divided into sequences. The talents of the awakened ones are generally at Sequence 3, and they can only mobilize the limited spiritual energy between heaven and earth, or strengthen themselves. Sequence 1 and 2 talents, also known as concept-level talents, can use the power of cause and effect in concepts, and each one is very abnormal. Compared to Sequence 2, the talent of Sequence 1 has a stronger concept, fewer restrictions, and is close to the power of the creator. But what about this system of having many children and being blessed? Is this God's mercy to me? I just don't know if the rewards for completing the tasks will be generous. As for his two talents, Lin Feng had become a powerful person in his previous life after all, so he immediately figured out the key to the problem. The end of the world has not yet happened, so the talent has naturally not awakened yet. But what belongs to him can't run away. If it's not his, he can plunder it as long as he wants. Lin Feng smiled knowingly. He has a lot to do in his new life. But first, a hearty meal. The refrigerators in 5-star hotel rooms are usually filled with food, mostly cooked food that can be eaten after heating it in the microwave. Lin Feng ate 5 roast chickens and 3 steaks, and drank 2 bottles of Coke and a bottle of champagne before stopping. Happy. After eating and drinking, Lin Feng wiped his mouth and looked at the time. It was almost time to collect the interest. Lin Feng hid the fruit knife under his sleeve and got up to go out. On the outskirts of the city, Tianfuan Villa. As a top rich second generation, Tang Long owns a detached villa here, where he usually gathers and has fun with friends. Lin Feng had also heard Chen Zi and Pan Tiantian mention it when they were chatting. The location was not difficult to find. Lin Feng directly got the specific house number from a security guard. This is not due to any talent or skills, but Lin Feng's innate aura of a superior, which has a strong deterrent effect on ordinary people. The door of the villa was not locked and opened easily. Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. This Tang Long really doesn't like closing the door. He will regret it someday. The living room was a mess after the party and was empty. Lin Feng went up the stairs and found Tang Long and Pan Tiantian in the video room on the second floor. Unexpectedly, Chen Zi was also here. This pair of good friends, Pan Tiantian wore a professional suit with a white shirt and a hip skirt, with an impressive bust. Chen Zi is still wearing a JK outfit, but the black stockings on her legs have been replaced with white stockings, revealing her girlish thighs, which are tender, elastic, and shiny. Even though Lin Feng had been in a relationship with Pan Tiantian for so long, he had never seen her dressed like this. But it doesn't matter anymore. The bitch must die. Lin Feng, why are you here? Tang Long staggered over with a beer bottle in his hand and sneered, why, do you want to get beaten again? Pan Tiantian was also a little impatient. Lin Feng, although we are in a relationship, you following me makes me feel suffocated and offended. So, please leave. Chen Zi didn't say anything, but looked over with interest, as if she was enjoying the fun. Offend? Haha, I'm not here to offend you, nor do I want to disturb your fun. I'm here to kill. Lin Feng's voice was cold, revealing a hint of murderous intent. Since you know what's good for you, why don't you leave now? Wait, what did you say? Pan Tiantian's tone was cold. Finally, she realized that she seemed to have missed something and asked again. I said, I'm here to kill people. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng had a fruit knife in his hand, and he inserted it into Tang Long's waist neatly. Puff! The knife was pulled out, and a column of blood spurted out instantly. Then, Lin Feng skillfully stabbed Tang Long's vital points several times to ensure that he would die peacefully. Lin Feng, you. Tang Long widened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. Lin Feng held the knife and soothed her, don't be afraid. It's normal to feel dizzy right now. It will be fine in a while. Tang Long spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood in frustration and fell to the ground and died. Lin Feng looked indifferent. In the end times, people like Tang Long who had only awakened B-level talent were just small minions. Lin Feng didn't feel anything special after killing him. However, being able to kill him with my own hands can also be considered as settling a grudge. Plunder, start. Gained. B-level talent. Muscle enhancement gained. Cash of 30 million yuan gained. Property rights of building 9 in Tianfuan gained. Plunder, worthy of being a sequence 1 talent, is indeed powerful. The moment he killed Tang Long, Lin Feng obtained everything he had through plunder. Of course, plundering actually has a scope. Only things with value will be plundered, and things without value are not within the scope. Lin Feng, did you kill Tang Long? In the back, Pan Tiantian and Chen Zi were terrified. Lin Feng, you murderer, I'm calling the police. Pan Tiantian shivered and quickly took out her cell phone. The next second, I felt a chill on my neck. When I reached out to touch it, I only felt a wet area. Looking over, it was all bright red blood. Chapter 3. Save the JK girl and get a different dimension as a reward. Ah! Pan Tian screamed, but the room was well soundproofed and she couldn't hear anything outside. Lin Feng looked at her and sighed. Pan Tiantian, you would never have thought that I would be reborn, right? My biggest regret in my previous life was that I couldn't kill you with my own hands. Now, I finally got what I wanted. As expected, you're a bitch, it's better for you to die. Living is just a waste of air. A flash of silver light passed by, and Pan Tiantian's eyes instantly lost their luster. Lin Feng suddenly felt more relaxed than ever before. It was as if a shackle in my heart was opened. Lin Feng and Pan Tiantian came from the countryside together. They started dating in high school, and their parents in their hometown also approved of this relationship. Just wait until they graduate from college and then arrange for them to get married. From high school in the countryside to university in a big city, Lin Feng thought Pan Tiantian would keep her original intention like him. So, even though she betrayed him, he still shared his talent with Pan Tiantian as soon as he awakened it. But what is the result? For her own sake, Pan Tiantian teamed up with Tang Long and kept him in captivity like livestock, extracting blood from his body every day and not stopping until the last drop was squeezed out. Every day, Lin Feng lives in extreme pain. Even if he later became the strongest person, he would still dream about the scene at that time in the middle of the night and wake up in a cold sweat. But now, the inner demon has been resolved. Lin Feng suddenly wanted to laugh, and laughed out loud with his head tilted back. Lin Feng, are you crazy? On the side, Chen Zi was very scared. Seeing Lin Feng suddenly burst into laughter after killing someone, she asked cautiously. Lin Feng only noticed Chen Zi at this time, stopped laughing, and turned to look at her. Being stared at like that, Chen Zi's legs went weak. No, don't kill me, Lin Feng, I can agree to anything you want. Chen Zi fell to her knees and begged bitterly. Lin Feng thought about it carefully and realized that Pan Tiantian became materialistic after she became best friends with Chen Zi. But, does this mean that she has led Pan Tiantian astray? Lin Feng doesn't think so. Pan Tiantian was not led astray, but that is her nature. She is an extremely vicious woman. Of course, Chen Zi is not a good woman either. However, she is still useful. If you don't want to die, that's okay. As long as you agree to one of my requests, I can let you go. Lin Feng said lightly. Lin Feng thought he could use her to try out the rewards of the many children, many blessings system. 10 years later, there will be the final battle. If I can't break through to the supreme level before then, I will lose. Blue Star will face the same destructive ending as last time. Therefore, Lin Feng must seize every opportunity to grow up as soon as possible. Okay, Chen Zi patted her lovely chest and breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Feng, as long as you behave well, listen to me in everything, love me, and care for me, I can consider agreeing to be your girlfriend. When Lin Feng heard this, he almost laughed out of anger and said coldly, Beauty, you don't seem to understand the situation. When did I ever say that I wanted you to be my girlfriend? Chen Zi was stunned for a moment, then looked up at Lin Feng and said, but, we have to start by cultivating feelings, right? There's less than a day left until the end of the world. Do you think I have the patience to date you, or do I seem easy to fool? Lin Feng ordered in a cold voice, go to bed. Chen Zi shuddered all over. At the beginning, she really wanted to fool him. A beauty like her, who was at the level of the school belle, would have at least 80 if not 100 men chasing after her. Having her as a girlfriend is definitely something worth bragging about. But Lin Feng, why don't you buy it? Also, he has really changed. He used to be a bootlicker. Now, he's terrifyingly vicious and has even killed people. Chen Zi was so frightened that she was trembling all over and didn't dare to go against Lin Feng's wishes. Half an hour later, Lin Feng felt refreshed. Choose one of the following 3 system rewards. Please make your choice as soon as possible. Closing square bracket. Reward 1. Extra dimensional space 10x 10x 10 cubic meters. Reward 2. Weapon, tetanus blade 50% chance of inflicting tetanus on the enemy. Reward 3. Skill, resuscitation consumes a small amount of mana and restores a small amount of stamina. Choose one of 3 rewards. Lin Feng was no longer sleepy and started browsing quickly. He discovered that these rewards were not of high quality, but were very useful in the early days of the apocalypse. If used properly, he might be able to stay one step ahead of others. I choose 1, another dimension. A hint of determination flashed in Lin Feng's eyes, and the scenes of the end of the world in his previous life echoed in his mind. He knew that he had to make the most favorable choice. Weapon, Tetanus blade. Although it sounds cool, the probability of 50% is too low, and he doesn't think he needs to rely on weapons to survive. As for skill, resurrection, it sounds very practical, but the last thing in the apocalypse is all kinds of emergencies. Who knows if you will die because of this small difference in physical strength. Only the other dimensional space can truly guarantee that he can remain invincible in the end times. Thinking of this, Lin Feng no longer hesitated and made a decisive choice. Almost at the same time, he felt a strange space appear in his mind, as if a domain independent of the real world had appeared out of thin air. Is this the other dimension? Lin Feng secretly sighed in his heart. Although this space does not look big from the outside, only 10 meters square, but in fact it is a different world. This space is like a bottomless pit, seemingly able to accommodate countless items and resources. This shocked Lin Feng. He had never thought that such a seemingly limited space could have such a huge storage space. This discovery filled him with curiosity and anticipation about this space, and also stimulated his desire to explore more possibilities. He began to think about how to make full use of this space to store more items and play a greater role in future adventures. More importantly, the things stored inside seem to have stood still in time and will never rot or spoil. This means that he can stockpile large amounts of food, water, medicine and other survival supplies in advance in case of emergency. With this space, I will have more initiative in the apocalypse. Lin Feng clenched his fists, his heart filled with hope. He seemed to have seen that in the barren land of the end of the world, he relied on this magical space to build up his own power step by step, and eventually become a strong man who controlled everything. So, the first priority now is it time to stock up on some goods? Lin Feng couldn't help but think of the time before the end of his previous life. He also believed in other people's words and did not prepare in advance, which led to him falling into trouble. This time, she absolutely couldn't make the same mistake again. She had to stockpile enough supplies in advance to deal with the possible crisis. Chapter 4: The Truth of the End of the World, the Blue-Winged Six-Winged Tiger King. A black card suddenly appeared at Lin Feng's fingertips. This was looted from Tang long after he was killed just now. There was a total of 30 million in it. As a top-rich second generation, Tang Long still has something. 30 million is an unimaginable amount of money in the eyes of ordinary people. However, after the apocalypse breaks out, money will be worthless and 30 million will be just a bunch of numbers. You may not even be able to exchange it for a piece of fresh bread. In the 5th year of the apocalypse, Lin Feng once met the richest man Ma Baba in an abandoned underground shelter. The other party expressed his willingness to spend 100 million to buy a piece of beef jerky from Lin Feng. Lin Feng refused, because a piece of beef jerky can really fill you up. 100 million banknotes are of no use other than burning to keep warm. It may even be worse than picking up a piece of wood and burning it for a longer time. But at the moment, 30 million still has strong purchasing power. Lin Feng first called several hotels and booked 500 tables of banquets, and then bought 5 million worth of frozen poultry from the frozen food yard. This trip alone cost 10 million. Several times, Chen Ziyi wanted to call the police, but when she thought of Lin Feng's vicious look when he killed someone just now, she didn't even dare to move. After Lin Feng woke up, Chen Ziyi thought he would run away quickly. He ended up sitting on the bed and making a phone call. 500 banquet tables and 10 million kilograms of frozen goods. Is he the reincarnation of a starving ghost? How many people would be needed to finish all this? Chen Ziyi found it unreasonable. However, since Lin Feng is so rich now, is it okay to ask him for some compensation? Lin Feng, look, you've killed someone now, and you're going to be hunted by the police soon. Maybe you'll have to spend the rest of your life in prison sewing. So, should you leave me some money? Chen Ziyi is a cute type. When she speaks, her tone is crisp and very pleasant. I'm afraid she has deceived many men with this point, right? Lin Feng nodded and said, you are right. How much do you want? 10 million. No, 5 million. 5 million is enough. Chen Ziyi stretched out a finger as tender as a scallion, thought for a moment, then put it down and turned it into a slap. No problem, 5 million isn't enough. I'll give you 50 million. Come get it from me tomorrow. Lin Feng couldn't help laughing. After all, money will be worthless tomorrow and will have no other use except to wipe your butt. When the time comes, what expression will Chen Ziyi have when she gets 50 million in cash? But now, when Chen Ziyi heard the 50 million, she couldn't help swallowing. Lin Feng, you're such a nice person. Don't worry, as long as you're willing to give me 50 million, I promise I'll never bother you again. Lin Feng came to the garage, drove out a Ferrari, and headed straight for the Zhongning helicopter base 20 miles away. If I remember correctly, there are helicopter rental services available there. Sir, what type of helicopter do you need to rent? Zhongning helicopter base. Lin Feng parked the car and a service staff came over immediately. After some inquiries, Lin Feng finally rented a Robinson R-44 at a price of 100,000 yuan a day. The advantage of this type of helicopter is its small size. Even if there is no helipad, it can be parked in some open space of suitable size. After paying the rent, Lin Feng left in a helicopter. As for the Ferrari, just mortgage it here as a deposit. An hour later, Lin Feng came to the Shangjiang Wildlife Park, 600 kilometers away. This wildlife park is ranked among the best in the country and is famous for its extremely restored wild environment. When tourists travel by bus, they feel as if they are really in the African savanna, with birds and animals, close contact, and a wild atmosphere. Hong Kong is one of the top 3 cities in the country, so it has the courage to build this zoo. But when the apocalypse broke out, Hong Kong fell in an instant. Out of a population of more than 10 million, only a few survived. There is no other reason. It's because of this zoo. There are many different opinions about the cause of the apocalypse. A more reliable theory is that an unknown spore spread completely across the earth in just 2 minutes. This spore eventually caused 80% of the world's population to turn into zombies, and of the remaining 20% survivors, 2% became awakened. The spores also affect plants and animals, but the results of the infection are the opposite of those in humans. According to incomplete statistics, after the outbreak of the apocalypse, 80% of animals and plants successfully awakened and possessed different talents or abilities, while the remaining 20% turned into zombies. That's right, even plants can turn into zombies. In his previous life, Lin Feng was almost bitten by a mimosa. This zoo is home to a large number of wild animals and plants, and they generally have a deep hatred for humans. After awakening, the first thing he did was to take revenge on humans. Hong Kong, an international metropolis, has since disappeared from the map of human history. Many years have passed, and this place is still the territory of the animals. One of the very important reasons. That is, there exists a king here who cannot be challenged. Green-winged 6-winged tiger king. It is said that it was a newly adult white tiger that awakened the talent of controlling the wind, and grew 3 pairs of green wings on its back, and from then on it ruled this area of demons. But their ending was not good. Before the final battle, they were destroyed by a tide of zombies led by an 8-winged zombie king. Lin Feng strolled in this wild area, ignoring the ferocious birds and beasts around him, looking for the trace of the white tiger. In the previous life, Lin Feng persuaded the green-winged 6-winged tiger king to cooperate with humans to resist the invasion of the corpse king. The result was rejected. In this life, Lin Feng wants to subdue it before it grows up. There is no point in internal friction. Because they have a common enemy. Lin Feng only realized this at the last moment, when he was about to die. The end of the world is probably just an illusion. It is nothing more than a cover, a carefully designed scam, whose real purpose is to cover up the mastermind behind the scenes who is trying to destroy Blue Star. And the mastermind behind this is most likely the mother of those mysterious and unknown spores. However, it is sad that despite mankind's best efforts, we are ultimately unable to lift the fog and witness its true face. Although mankind has made tremendous efforts and sacrifices, it has ultimately failed to defeat the powerful dark force. Perhaps, one day in the future, when technology has developed to a sufficiently advanced level, humans will be able to solve this mystery and reveal the true face of the mastermind behind the scenes. Even in the face of numerous difficulties and challenges, he never gave up the pursuit of the truth. Just the fruiting body it created, the 12-winged ultimate dark corpse king, already possessed the power to destroy the blue planet. The spark of fire will never go out, and human heritage will continue. Lin Feng believed that his rebirth was no accident, but the will of all mankind before its destruction, giving him a chance to start over. This time, he will never lose. Thinking of this, Lin Feng's eyes couldn't help but become a little deeper. And just at this moment, a chubby white dot appeared in his field of vision. Chapter 5. What a tough guy. He kicked a Maine dog to death with one kick. Green-winged 6-winged tiger king. Lin Feng recalled the magnificent image of the tiger king in his mind, which slowly overlapped with the white dot in front of him. This doesn't look like it, does it? The little guy in front of him was only as tall as Lin Feng's calf, and was so thin that only bones were left. His hair was messy and dark, and he limped when he walked, as if his right hind leg was disabled. Isn't this just a bigger cat? How can it look like a tiger king? However, after seeing its eyes, Lin Feng no longer had any doubts. Because, like the green-winged six-winged tiger king, the little guy's eyes are full of hatred. That kind of hatred that is so strong that it cannot be dissolved. Who could have imagined that the once powerful green-winged six-winged tiger king would end up in such a miserable state? After discovering that Lin Feng was looking at him, the little guy bared his teeth and showed strong hostility. Lin Feng looked indifferent and said, "Little guy, you probably don't know me, but with your current strength, I can easily suppress you. If you don't want to get hurt, then surrender to me." Ouch! The little guy raised his head and roared, making sounds of resistance. But, what's the use? Lin Feng instantly activated his B-level talent for muscle strengthening, and his calf muscles immediately tripled in strength. He leapt up and came behind the little guy. Then he reached out, grabbed the back of the neck, and lifted it up easily. Awoo awoo tilde. The little guy made an unwilling sound in his throat. 4 pink puffy pads were scratching around in the air. "Are you convinced?" Lin Feng asked. Ouch! A fierce light flashed in the little guy's eyes. He suddenly turned his head and bit Lin Feng's arm. Lin Feng felt a pain and let go of his hand. The little guy took this opportunity to quickly jump down, dive into a bush, and disappeared. Question mark question mark question mark. After a few seconds of silence, Lin Feng reacted. Although this little guy looks very weak now, he has the same inner qualities as the Tiger King and has a king's heart. As a king, how could he surrender so easily? It seems that we still need to pay attention to some methods and approaches. Lin Feng sighed and continued to chase after him. Badiandian ran very fast, but Lin Feng was not slow either. The biggest benefit of muscle strengthening is increased strength. And power is speed. Boom! A roar erupted from Lin Feng's calf, and he was seen walking briskly, moving quickly across the wild grassland. Not far away, a tourist bus slowly approached. A little fat boy sitting by the car window opened his mouth in surprise when he saw this scene. "Mom, look, there's someone over there." The fat boy's mother looked over when she heard the noise, but saw nothing. She rolled her eyes and lectured him, "The most important thing for a child is to be honest. If you lie again, I'll spank you." The little fat boy was so scared that he burst into tears. There is a subtle connection between the awakened ones. In some cases, they can sense each other's presence. Just like now, Lin Feng could clearly feel the presence of the little guy. He was not far away from him and was about to catch up. But now there is less than a day left before the apocalypse breaks out, and strictly speaking, the little guy is not yet awakened. Lin Feng's ability to feel it confirmed his previous guess. That is, the talents of the awakened are innate. It is not, as most people believe, something that is acquired by chance after being infected with spores. The spore invasion and the apocalypse outbreak only provide an opportunity. This process can be understood as an immune mechanism of the human body. People with poor immunity cannot resist the spores and will turn into zombies after being infected. People with strong immunity can resist the invasion of these spores and will not be infected, so they survive. Among these survivors, there is a special group of people who have a kind of blood power called talent hidden in their bodies. In the process of fighting against the spores, this bloodline power will be activated, thus awakening the talent and becoming an awakener. If the spores are regarded as viruses, then the awakened ones are the antibodies responsible for eliminating the viruses. The two are incompatible and cannot coexist. How could it be the spores that brought them the talent? This is simply recognizing a thief as your father. It's ridiculous. In the previous life, it was not until the final battle that the human camp reached a consensus. But it was too late. Before this, they had experienced such severe internal friction that when the 12-winged ultimate Dark Corpse King arrived, no one in the entire human camp could defeat him. They can only watch helplessly as the home planet they depend on for survival is destroyed. It hurts so much. Whenever he thought of this, Lin Feng felt a piercing pain. So, this time, he must grow up quickly. Ouch! After passing through a forest, Lin Feng found the little guy's traces in an open space. However, it looks like it's in some trouble. 3 strong maned dogs surrounded it, probing it with their fangs from time to time. Although the little guy is a white tiger, the king of beasts. However, tigers live in mountains and forests, and this is an artificial African savanna. The opponent is the main dog, which is known as the second brother of the savannah, so it is difficult for it to gain the upper hand. What's more, the little guy is not only thin, but also lame in his right hind leg. These three maned dogs had sticky saliva hanging from the corners of their mouths, obviously treating the little guy as a delicious meal. The little guy was not to be outdone, baring his teeth and revealing a ferocious look that belonged to a king. The three maned dogs, which were obviously much larger than it, were so frightened that they dared not move forward and just kept probing the periphery. Lin Feng stopped and did not step forward immediately. He was a little curious about how this little guy would eventually escape. If they keep wasting time like this, the little one will definitely be the first to run out of energy. At that time, you will have no choice but to be slaughtered by the three maned dogs. Just when Lin Feng thought the fight would continue, the little guy took advantage of one of the maned dogs being distracted and suddenly moved, pounced on it, and bit the maned dog's neck with its sharp fangs. Fast, accurate and ruthless. The shiny hide of the maned dog was immediately bitten through, blood spurted out, and a slight sonic boom could be heard if one listened carefully, indicating that the trachea had been bitten. Ah tilde ah tilde ah tilde. The maned dog let out a miserable cry, and the other two were so frightened that they stood there in a daze. The little fellow tore off a piece of meat from the beast, held the meat in his mouth, and jumped off the maned dog, like a returning king, covered with wounds. The other two maned dogs did not hesitate and turned around and ran away. Of course Lin Feng didn't let them run away. He chased them and kicked them to death one by one. Just then, the passenger bus drove nearby. When the little fat boy saw this scene, his jaw almost dropped. "Mom, look, there's Superman, kicking a maned dog to death." The fat boy's mother turned her head impatiently and was about to continue scolding the fat boy when she saw Lin Feng raise his leg and kick a running maned dog in the waist and throw it into the air. He was already dead when he fell. Chapter 6 Mutation, Purple Thunder Talent. Why are you taking pictures? Just stand there. The fat boy's mother exclaimed, and everyone in the car's attention was drawn to her. Damn, so fierce, one kick to a maned dog, right? What's so surprising about this? They're just two dogs. I can do it too. Dude, this is your ignorance, don't you think these are just two random stray dogs? Does the maned dog know? He's the second brother of Africa, and even lions have to avoid him. Also, the most skilled attack method of the maned dog is to dig out the anus. You heard it right, it means pulling out the intestines. If it were you, you would have been dead by now. Ha 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 ha, everyone laughed. Is it really as amazing as you say? The young man who was trying to show off at the beginning shrank his head and stopped talking. Lin Feng kicked a maned dog to death with one kick. Although it caused a commotion in the car, it was still within the acceptable range for normal people. It was just a little too fierce. But the next scene made them unable to believe their eyes. I saw that not far away, a small-looking white tiger cub suddenly grew more than 5 or 6 times in size. 3 pairs of wings wrapped with purple lightning suddenly grew on its sturdy and broad back. It looked majestic and solemn, as if it was a prehistoric beast from the classic of mountains and seas. Like a dream, not real. The bus tour guide, who had just called the headquarters to report the situation to his superiors, was so shocked that his jaw was dislocated and he couldn't utter a word. Roar, roar, roar. A roar that shook the mountains and hills came from the mouth of this giant beast. The earth trembled and all the beasts fled. The bird of prey hovering in the air decisively gave up hunting its prey and frantically raised its flying altitude, fearing that it would touch the giant beast. The next moment, this giant tiger-shaped beast with wings flapped its wings and soared into the sky. When you looked again, it had turned into a purple lightning and disappeared into the sky. Everyone on the bus finally came to their senses. Someone opened the video and slowed it down 3 times, only then could they see clearly that there was a person riding on the back of the tiger-shaped beast. He is actually the man who kicked the maned dog to death out of thin air. Oh my god, what is wrong with this world? Are you crazy? Hey, bus number 08, what's going on over there? If you hear me, please reply. The tour guide heard the angry voice of his superior on his cell phone. Leader, a white tiger just turned into a winged monster and flew away. What's going on? Didn't you just say that a man broke into the park and kicked 2 maned dogs to death? Why are you bringing this up with monsters now? I told you to stop staying up late to read novels, but you're already daydreaming in broad daylight. What about that man? Is he still in the park? No, he just flew away with the monster. 3,000 meters above the ground. Lin Feng's muscles were bulging and veins were popping out, and he was barely able to resist the strong wind that was cutting his body like a knife. The flight speed is Mach 6.7. At least twice as fast as the fastest fighter jet on Blue Planet. The blue-winged six-winged Tiger King. No, now it should be called the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King. Just now, after kicking two Maine dogs to death, Lin Feng cut his palm and dripped a few drops of blood into the little guy's mouth, intending to heal its disabled right hind leg. However, he did not expect that it would accidentally activate its bloodline power and awaken its talent ahead of time. SS-level talent, controlling the wind. This was a talent that it had awakened in its previous life, causing 6 green wind wings to grow on its back, allowing it to control the strong wind and perform a series of powerful wind attribute skills. But after its right hind leg was healed, it activated the ancient bloodline in its body and once again awakened an SSS-level talent called Purple Thunder. Purple lightning is the most violent lightning in the world. It has the characteristics of high burst, wide range, instant kill, and evil repelling. Not only does it look crazy and cool, it also has terrifying destructive power in actual combat. At this moment, the purple electric arc wrapped around the wings of the green-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King is the external manifestation of the Purple Thunder talent. Feeling the blood connection with the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King in his body, Lin Feng felt extremely satisfied. Yes, just now, the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King voluntarily handed over his lifeblood, signed a contract with him, and became his battle pet. This result surprised Lin Feng. Back then, after the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King successfully awakened and became a powerful Lord-level monster, Lin Feng had thought it would turn around and leave. However, he did not expect that it would actually lower its proud head and sign a battle pet contract with him. Is it because I just promised to help it get revenge, or because I helped it awaken its hidden bloodline? Lin Feng muttered softly, a little confused for a moment. Once the battle pet contract is signed, the master and servant can communicate through their minds even if they do not understand each other's language. It seemed that he had sensed what Lin Feng was thinking. The blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King immediately raised his head and started communicating with him. Master, you are the first human who has truly helped me. Even after I awakened my bloodline and reached a higher level, facing you again was like looking into the abyss. I even felt a slight tremor in the depths of my soul. However, I also felt a sense of intimacy, just like I once felt with my father. Furthermore, if I want to seek revenge on humans, I must have your help, Master. If you hadn't appeared, perhaps my way of revenge would be to kill all humans. A somewhat childish voice sounded in Lin Feng's mind. This was the telepathic communication of the blue-winged Purple Thunder Lion King. Lin Feng also said through telepathy. Don't worry, since I promised you, I will definitely help you get revenge. And I roughly know who your enemy is. Upon hearing this, the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King's eyes spewed flames of anger and he involuntarily increased his flying speed. Lin Feng also fell silent. Ever since he learned about the past of the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King, his mood has become very heavy. That intense hatred that cannot be dissolved. It's not without reason. Several years ago, when this little guy was even younger, the family of 3 lived in a pristine mountain forest in southern Yunnan province. The tragedy happened one afternoon when an entrepreneur who loved hunting climbed the mountain with a hunting rifle and a large entourage. White tigers are born with a lack of melanin and have snow-white fur, so it is difficult for them to hide in the mountains and forests. The entrepreneur's shotgun was soon aimed at the little guy's mother. Bang! With a gunshot, the little guy's father blocked the bullet for his mother and fell in a pool of blood. Before the little guy realized what was happening, several people came up to him, raised the butts of their guns, and hit him hard on the head. When it woke up again, it found itself locked in a rusty iron cage with its mother. Outside the iron cage, a group of ugly humans looked at them greedily with terrible smiles on their faces. And the nightmare has just begun. Chapter 7 SSS Level Talent, Beast Blood Boiling. According to the description of the blue-winged Purple Thunder Tiger King, Lin Feng has already deduced that his enemy is the famous Lei Bancheng in Shangjiang City, whose name is Lei Zhongguang. This person is a famous animal philanthropist. He has donated to establish many animal protection organizations, and has been widely publicized by major media. But in fact, he hunted and abused animals in the name of protecting animals. Shangjiang Wildlife Park is also under his name. The purpose is self-evident. However, such a person awakened his SSS level talent after the outbreak of the apocalypse, and his blood boiled. This talent can simulate animal bloodlines to gain different ability enhancements. The strength of a bear, the eyesight of an eagle, and the speed of a leopard are all no problem. After upgrading, it can even simulate the blood power of monsters, with an extremely high upper limit. This talent is like a blessing from the king of beasts. But ironically, it was given to a bastard who enjoys torturing animals. Relying on this talent, Lei Zhongguang quickly occupied a piece of land in the end times and became a local emperor. Known as the Beast King. In his previous life, the Beast King was also one of the strongest. His frontal strength is not as good as Lin Feng's, but because of the variety of his beast abilities, Lin Feng cannot easily defeat him. But soon, the boiling beast's blood will belong to Lin Feng. Lei Zhongguang is the richest man in Shangjiang City, but he actually lives in a manor at the foot of Phoenix Mountain, which is nearly 800 kilometers away from Shangjiang City in a straight line. The speed of the blue-winged purple thunder tiger king is twice that of the fastest fighter plane in the world. But it still takes more than 10 minutes to fly the 800 kilometers. The journey time is not long. But the atmosphere suddenly became solemn and a little awkward. Lin Feng coughed twice, trying to break the atmosphere. I think there's an important issue that needs to be discussed seriously, which is what name should we give you? The blue-winged purple thunder tiger king said, Director, I don't need a name. Names are meaningless to us. Lin Feng immediately retorted, how can it be meaningless? If you don't have a name, how should I call you? I can't always call you the blue-winged purple thunder tiger king, right? Readers will think we're wasting words. The blue-winged purple thunder tiger king fell silent. So Lin Feng said again, your true form is a white tiger, very small in size, but I can't call you little white tiger, right? Little white, little tiger, white, how about I call you Badiandian? Your nickname is Diandian. When I first saw you, you were already Badiandian. This name is both cute and easy to pronounce. Diandian, what do you think? The blue-winged purple thunder tiger king continued to remain silent. Lin Feng took it as his consent. A tiger and a man were flying at high speed at an altitude of 3,000 meters. Like a purple lightning, it streaked across the sky. 10 minutes later, at the foot of Phoenix Mountain. The Lei family manor is located on a flat green area backed by the foot of the mountain. The more than 3-meter-high courtyard wall surrounds the entire manor like a castle and extends all the way to Phoenix Mountain. Judging from the situation, Lei Zhongguang treats the entire Phoenix Mountain as his own backyard. This kind of courage can only be described as audacious. Lin Feng rode on Badiandian's back, hovering in midair, overlooking the entire Lei family manor. But when he saw Phoenix Mountain, Badiandian suddenly became furious, purple lightning surged all over his body, and the nearby wind elements also began to riot. Lin Feng stroked its head, trying to comfort it. Badiandian's mother was slowly tortured to death by Lei Zhongguang on this Phoenix Mountain. It was also here that Badiandian's right hind leg was broken, but it did not surrender. Instead, it left a deep claw mark on Lei Zhongguang's face. Then it escaped and ran into Phoenix Mountain. But it was so young that it had no hunting ability at all. In addition, it had been abused by Lei Zhongguang for so long that it was extremely weak when it escaped. Later, it was rescued by a group of humans calling themselves the Animal Protection Association. The humans fed it, bathed it, and put it in a warm blanket to keep it warm. Badiandian, who hates humans, once again chose to believe. The young animal thought, maybe there are good people among humans. Then, it was sent to the zoo, the African savanna, by this group of humans. Badiandian was completely stunned. Aren't these humans from some animal protection association? How can you be so lacking in common sense? It is a tiger, and tigers are the overlords of the forest. How is it possible to live in the grassland? After arriving on the African savanna, its situation became even worse. Not only is it difficult for it to catch prey, but it is also often marked as prey by a group of maned dogs because of its lameness. The zookeeper even deliberately neglected it, never feeding it and wanting it to fend for itself. But it did not die and survived to this day. I have survived to this day and arrived at my enemy's doorstep. Let's go down. Lin Feng patted the huge white tiger head and said. Badiandian swooped down and entered the Lei family manor. What's going on? A huge tiger flew down from the sky. Quickly notify the head of the family and mobilize all security forces. Hunting rifle, go get your hunting rifle. The Lei family manor suddenly became a mess. The bodyguards in black took action in shock. However, Lin Feng and Badiandian simply ignored them and headed straight for the master's villa. It was the most eye-catching building in the entire manor and was not difficult to find at all. Lei Zhongguang was wearing a short-sleeved sportswear and playing golf at this time, but the golf club was not swinging at the golf ball. But they are the heads of groundhogs. Here, there lay a row of groundhogs with their heads blown off and blood flowing everywhere. There were also many groundhogs whose bodies were fixed in the soil with only their heads exposed, trembling in fear. Lei Zhongguang seemed to enjoy this feeling very much. After swinging one club, he went under the parasol, took a sip of kung fu tea, and then stood up to swing the second club. The groundhog's screams were endless, but he seemed not to hear them, or perhaps he was enjoying it very much. Lin Feng rode on Badiandian and landed in front of him. The huge wind field generated around him almost knocked Lei Zhongguang to the ground. It's actually such a big white tiger. Lei Zhongguang held the brim of his hat, his face not showing any fear, but instead filled with impulse. An impulse to catch the big tiger in front of you and torture it. Lei Zhongguang, do you still recognize it? Lin Feng rolled off by Diandian's body and looked at Lei Zhongguang with cold eyes. This person really refuses to repent. Lei Zhongguang glanced at Lin Feng, feeling a bit surprised. He then laughed and said, I've played with white tigers, if not 100, at least 80 of them, but I've never seen one this big. Brother, is this white tiger yours? Name a price and sell it to me. As long as I can afford it, the price is not a problem. Lei Zhongguang said with an obsessed look on his face. Chapter 8 I want to atone for my sins. This person is beyond saving. Lin Feng sighed, without looking at Lei Zhongguang again, turned around and walked into the villa. Dian, remember to leave him some breath, I'll be useful later. Roar. Lin Feng responded with an uncontrollable roar. However, with the bond of the master-servant contract, the blue-winged purple thunder tiger king cannot disobey Lin Feng's orders, so there is no need to worry that it will kill Lei Zhongguang completely because of excessive hatred. Only by keeping a breath of air can Lin Feng plunder the talent of boiling beast blood. As for now, let by Diandian take revenge. Revenge when there is revenge, and complain when there is complaint. It's time for that beast Lei Zhongguang to pay the price. And Lin Feng has other things to do. It is rumored that Hong Kong's richest man, Lei Bancheng, not only likes to abuse animals, but is also obsessed with hoarding gold. At that time, he was already one of the most powerful people in the end times. He once revealed to his subordinates that he had hoarded at least 1 ton of gold under his villa in Phoenix Mountain. 1 ton is 1 million grams. According to the market price of gold at 700 yuan per gram, that is 700 million. This is already a very exaggerated number. But for Lei Zhongguang, it may not matter. Lin Feng had only heard about it, but he was sure that it was true. The reason is simple. The reason why the Beast King rose rapidly in the apocalypse was naturally inseparable from the SSS-level talent of the boiling beast blood, but this batch of gold probably also played a big role. Because gold has a strong inhibitory effect on all zombies, including the Zombie King. In terms of hardness, gold is not the hardest or sharpest metal on the blue planet. Even a bite of pure gold will leave a row of tooth marks. However, he could easily cut off the zombies' heads. Ordinary people can effectively improve their survival rate by holding a piece of gold as a talisman. Zombies will first choose people who don't have gold on them as food. Sure enough, it was just as Lin Feng expected. There is really a ton of gold hidden in the basement of this villa. But it was behind a thick steel security door. Deposit. Lin Feng snapped his fingers, and the steel security door ignored the laws of physics and was stored in an alternate dimension. Then, a golden mountain made of gold bricks appeared in front of Lin Feng, almost blinding his eyes. It's really spectacular. Lin Feng had seen the world, but when he first saw this mountain of gold, he still felt a little shocked. But now, it's all his. Deposit. Lin Feng snapped his fingers several times in succession, and all the gold bricks weighing 1 ton were stored in the other dimensional space. A corner of the originally empty space was immediately filled. Take out. Lin Feng thought about it and decided to take out the steel security door. Although there is still a lot of space inside, it is better to save as much as possible. What if you come across something you like? At first, Lin Feng had no plans to cause trouble for Lei Zhongguang. Everything depends on fate. I don't know where the next fate will be. But space must be reserved first. Lin Feng walked out of the basement and came to the living room, where he heard a shrill scream coming from outside. This was all Lei Zhongguang's own fault, and Lin Feng felt nothing at all. It seems that Diandian still needs some time. Lin Feng didn't disturb it and turned to go upstairs. Will he find some good things that are destined for him? As Lin Feng was thinking this, he looked up and saw a pretty woman in a floral dress huddled in a corner, trembling with fear on the corridor on the second floor. Are you Lei Shuyu? Lin Feng was a little surprised. He didn't expect to meet an acquaintance in this place. Of course, we are not acquaintances. Lei Shuyu is the campus beauty of their university's art department and is very famous. Lin Feng had only seen her from afar a few times during group activities, but she left a deep impression on him. Because Lei Shuyu is really pure and beautiful, and she is 80% similar to the fairy sister in the entertainment industry when she was young. You, who are you? Lei Shuyu looked at Lin Feng in horror, like a frightened deer, curled up with 2 tear marks on her cheeks, clearly showing tears which made people feel pity for her. Lin Feng's heart moved, and his expression suddenly turned colder. What is your relationship with Lei Zhongguang? He is my father. As Lei Shuyu spoke, she covered her mouth and cried, then collapsed and knelt on the ground. I know my father has done many bad things and killed many innocent lives. I knew this day would come. The sins he committed are too serious. No matter how he is punished, it will not be too much. But, if it can atone for some of my father's sins, I am willing to accept all your punishment. Lei Shuyu sincerely repented and cried until her eyes were red. Lin Feng's expression relaxed a little. It seems that Lei Shuyu and her father are not the same kind of people. Lei Zhongguang deserves death, but what he did has nothing to do with you. I won't do anything to you. Lin Feng shook his head. He was not a person who did not distinguish right from wrong. In his opinion, the guilty must be punished and the innocent should not be implicated. Ouch! At this moment, after consuming all the energy in his body, Dian turned from the blue-winged purple thunder tiger king back into a little guy, walked up to the second floor, and came to Lin Feng. There were no more screams outside the villa. But Lei Zhongguang was still alive, leaving a tiny trace of purple lightning in the area of his heart, maintaining the minimum characteristics of life. Apart from that, there was no good flesh left on his body, it was extremely miserable. Lin Feng touched the tiger's head and prepared to go downstairs to deal with Lei Zhongguang and then leave. Before leaving, he thought for a moment and gave me a reminder, after 5 p.m. tomorrow, the apocalypse will break out. By then, most people will turn into zombies. If you want to survive, remember to come find me at the Emperor Hotel in Jiangning City. Lei Shuyu nodded blankly, a little dazed. Of course, Lin Feng was just saying it casually. As for whether Lei Shuyu would be infected and turned into a zombie, or bitten to death by zombies after the apocalypse broke out, it was none of his business. Are you Xiao Bai? At this moment, Lei Shuyu seemed to recognize Dian, and burst into tears, saying guiltily. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have opened the cage that day. If I hadn't opened the cage, your mother wouldn't have been beaten to death. Xiao Bai, is your leg okay? Lei Shuyu sobbed twice and said with some surprise. Dian was silent, her eyes filled with complexity. Through telepathy, Lin Feng roughly understood what had happened. It turned out that in order to save Dian and her daughter, Dian was a tigress. Lei Shuyu opened the iron cage and let them go when no one was in the yard. As a result, what she didn't know was that the entire back mountain was fenced off by Lei Zhongguang and became his back garden. Click on them, and naturally they couldn't escape his clutches. Later, that's what happened later. Lei Shuyu had good intentions, and this matter could not be blamed on her, but she looked very guilty. A blush suddenly appeared on her pretty face, as if she had made some resolution. She gritted her teeth and said, You saved Xiao Bai, didn't you? Thank you. Over the years, I've been drowning in guilt. Please give me a chance to atone for my sins. I'm willing to give everything. As long as it can make up for the sins my father committed during his lifetime. Chapter 9, Extra-Dimensional Space Upgrade. Chapter 9, Extra-Dimensional Space Upgrade. Willing to give everything. This. How embarrassing is this? Lin Feng, who had just turned around to leave, stopped in his tracks when he heard this. Lei Zhongguang, a social scum, actually gave birth to a good daughter. Not only did he not escape responsibility, but he took the initiative to step forward and pay for his sins. Since she has this intention, how could I bear not to fulfill her wish? Lin Feng looked at the school beauty in front of him. If she gained an inch, she would be too fat. If she lost an inch, she would be too thin. If she applied powder, she would be too white. If she applied rouge, she would be too red. In simple terms, it's perfect, absolutely perfect. Whether it is the creamy skin, the slender waistline, the proud bust, the white lotus-like arms, or the fleshy yet straight long legs, they all exude an attractive youthful atmosphere. Moreover, hidden within this youthful aura is a noble temperament that comes from years of wealth. Although her behavior is very approachable, this nobility is hidden in her bones. This is a temperament that a girl like Chen Zi, who comes from an ordinary family, can never imitate. By the way, Dian, from now on you will follow me. I will give you a resounding name. Lin Feng said with a smile, reaching out and gently scratching Baihu's chin. The white tiger squinted its eyes comfortably and made a purring sound in its throat, obviously enjoying Lin Feng's touch very much. Since your fur is so white, I'll call you Xiao Bai. Lin Feng thought about it and decided to give the white tiger a simple and easy to remember name. Xiao Bai, Xiao Bai. Lin Feng called softly a few times, and the white tiger immediately raised its head, staring at him with its big watery eyes, as if responding to his call. Haha, it seems you like this name very much. Seeing this, Lin Feng couldn't help laughing happily. However, the name Xiao Bai seems a bit too common. How about? Lin Feng pondered for a moment, and suddenly an idea flashed in his mind. I'll just call you Baidian. Dian, Bai Dian, what do you think? Isn't this name more majestic? Lin Feng said as he gently patted the white tiger's head. The white tiger seemed to be very satisfied with the new name. It wagged its tail happily and rubbed against Lin Feng's feet. Lin Feng stroked Dian's tiger head and said, "Host, please choose a reward." Closing square bracket. Reward 1. The extra-dimensional space is expanded to 100x 100x 100 meters. Reward 2. Weapon, thorn bow, blue quality. When used with thorn arrows, has a certain chance of dealing armor-piercing damage to the enemy. Also includes thorn arrow crafting instructions. Reward 3. Skill, Berserk, consumes a small amount of physical strength, gains a 3's Berserk state, and significantly improves various physical attributes. I choose 1, the expansion of the extra-dimensional space. Lin Feng made his choice almost immediately. After all, what does a space of 100x 100x 100m mean? It is almost equivalent to 10 large warehouse supermarkets combined, so big that it is beyond imagination. Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel his heartbeat speed up a bit. He had already begun to outline plans for the future in his mind, starting with food, lots of food. Then there are water, medicine, weapons. With this space, he can literally move the whole world into it. Soon, the extra-dimensional space in Lin Feng's mind expanded rapidly in 6 directions. It felt like a seed sprouting and growing in an instant, and finally growing into a towering tree. It was full of shocking power. It didn't stop until the space expanded to 1,000 times its size. At this moment, the gold mountain that was originally piled up in the corner like a small hill now looked smaller than a pebble. Lin Feng looked at all this with satisfaction. With such a large space, there were more things he could do. Outside the villa, there was a mess. Except for Lei Zhongguang, who was lying on the ground and twitching continuously, the other bodyguards in black were deader than dead. Dian did not hold back. Its anger had originally led to the massacre of all humans in the city, but now it only killed the Lei family's bodyguards who assisted the evil, which was considered very restrained. Master, I have always maintained Lei Zhongguang's life characteristics. Seeing Lin Feng coming, Dian, who had been guarding Lei Zhongguang, reported to him. Lin Feng nodded and said, "You did a great job, Dian. It is difficult for humans to restrain their hatred, let alone an angry white tiger like Dian. There seemed to be 2 raging flames burning in those emerald green eyes, a low roar came from his throat, and his sharp fangs flashed coldly in the moonlight, as if he was going to tear Lei Zhongguang into pieces in the next second. It suppressed the bloodthirsty impulse in its heart, rubbed its claws again and again, and paced back and forth beside Lei Zhongguang anxiously. In the end, Dian obeyed Lin Feng's order and spared Lei Zhongguang's life. It shook its huge tiger head, suppressed the murderous intent surging in its heart, and lay quietly at Lin Feng's feet, waiting for his next instruction. Dian restrained its instincts, which showed that it recognized its master and that his orders were above everything else. Dian stepped aside. Lin Feng then raised his fist and hit Lei Zhongguang hard on the chest, ending his sinful life. Plunder launched. Obtained. SSS level talent. Boiling beast blood obtained. 51% equity in the Lei group obtained. A voice sounded in Lin Feng's mind. Lei Zhongguang's family is wealthy and has a lot of good things, and now they all belong to Lin Feng. But apart from the talents that are acquired immediately, other properties and the like will be transferred to him in a reasonable manner under the effect of cause and effect. For example, these 51% shares will be transferred to his name through Lei Zhongguang's will or some other means. Unfortunately, the end of the world is coming soon, and no amount of equity or wealth will help. Otherwise, he could transform himself into a super rich man and create a series of cool urban pretentious and face-slapping plots. SSS level talent, boiling beast blood. Description: can simulate the bloodlines of hundreds of beasts and gain corresponding ability amplification. The current talent is level 1, and the amplification multiplier is 2x. Quote: Lin Feng immediately checked the introduction of beast blood boiling, and it was indeed not much different from what he knew in his previous life. A two-fold increase means that if he simulates the cheetah's bloodline, he can obtain a speed twice that of a cheetah, which is equivalent to 240 km per hour, which is faster than the average supercar. It's worthy of being an SSS level talent. Compared with his two talents, they are not weak. Moreover, his two SSS level talents are more auxiliary. Now there is an additional talent for main combat. His achievements in this life can only be high, not low. Just wait for the end of the world to begin, his talent will awaken, his SSS God level will be restored, and his SSS fighting spirit will be upgraded. As long as you fight and kill enemies, you can gain fighting spirit upgrade points. No matter talent or skills, no additional understanding is required, just add points to upgrade. Chapter 10 Goodbye Yingshe. Ding ling ling. At this moment, the cell phone in Lin Feng's pocket rang. He picked it up and saw that the current time was 2025, May 9, 11:23 a.m. There are only 5 hours and 7 minutes left until the end of the world. Lin Feng suddenly felt a little emotional. It seemed like time passed a little too quickly. Lin Feng, Lin Feng, you can't continue to degenerate like this. I picked up the phone and heard a respectful voice. Director Lin, you are now the actual controlling shareholder of the Lei Group. The cooperation meeting with the Zhao Group, originally scheduled for 12 noon, now needs you to decide the time. Zhao Group. If I remember correctly, Zhao Yingshe is the president of Zhao Group. After killing and plundering Lei Zhongguang, Lin Feng became the actual controlling shareholder of the Lei Group, in charge of this listed group with a market value of hundreds of billions. Well, let me confirm with you who the Zhao Group's representative is. Lin Feng coughed twice and asked. Replying to Director Lin, this is the president of the Zhao Group, Ms. Zhao Yingshe. The guy over there answered immediately. Okay, let's proceed with the meeting as planned. Lin Feng's heart moved, and an image of a slender woman wearing a black combat uniform and carrying a huge blade weighing 100 pounds on her back emerged in his mind. That day, she stretched out her hand to herself in the iron cage. At that moment, a breeze blew by, ruffling her black hair. Her eyes were bright, like a clear lake. After 3 years of imprisonment and having blood drawn day and night, Lin Feng had already become numb. Even if someone offered him a helping hand, he remained indifferent. However, those bright eyes calmed him down and pulled him out of the dark abyss. After that, it was with Zhao Yingshui's unconditional help that Lin Feng gradually got on the right track and became the strongest person in the world. Unfortunately, Zhao Yingshe was eventually deceived by the coexistence faction, and firmly believed that the talents of the awakened were bestowed by spores. She was obsessed with finding the so-called way to coexistence and chose to part ways with Lin Feng, dying in a tide of corpses. Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. In this life, he will never let such a tragedy happen again. At this moment, I wonder what Zhao Yingshe, who has never experienced the end of the world, would be like. In her previous life, Zhao Yingshe awakened an A-level talent, jumping, which allows the holder of this talent to become 10 times lighter than an ordinary person and have 10 times the jumping ability. Correspondingly, in order to adapt to this level of jumping, the body's ability to withstand pressure is also enhanced. This is also the reason why Zhao Yingshe chose a heavy blade as her weapon. When she raises the heavy blade and falls from the sky, the huge gravitational potential energy will be transformed into energy that can destroy everything. Having thought about this, Lin Feng immediately interrupted his imagination. Zhao Yingshe means a lot to him, so he must not be so careless. He must start by cultivating feelings. As the saying goes, good things are worth waiting for. Okay, Mr. Lin. After hanging up the phone, Lin Feng calculated the time. The Lei Group headquarters was 50 kilometers away. At his current speed, he could get there in half an hour. So he directly told Diandian to take Lei Shuyu to Jiangning City after she woke up. Then he used the boiling beast blood to simulate the cheetah bloodline, gaining twice the speed of the cheetah, and then turned into an afterimage and rushed towards the Lei Group headquarters at a high speed. The talent of boiling beast blood can initially simulate the bloodlines of 3 wild beasts: eagle, bear, and cheetah. After that, all simulated bloodlines need to be collected by the awakened person himself, or he can comprehend them by upgrading his talents. But talent upgrade is a mysterious thing. Sometimes it requires sudden enlightenment, and sometimes it requires a lot of practical experience. You can never know exactly where the opportunity lies. Of course, Lin Feng is an exception. He only needs to kill enemies and accumulate fighting points to upgrade any talent. 12 o'clock noon. Lei Group President's Office. Zhao Yingshe, dressed in a white business suit, had been waiting here for a long time, her eyebrows slightly furrowed, expressing a hint of impatience. She had heard of Lei Zhongguang before, and her impression of him was only deep disgust. However, the family strongly advocates cooperation with the Lei family. As the CEO of the Zhao Group, she could only come here on orders. Is your boss always so unpunctual? Zhao Yingshe said with a hint of displeasure on her face. The female secretary waiting on the side wiped the sweat from her forehead and didn't dare to say a word. Behind Zhao Yingshe, an old man with snow-white hair, wearing a black tuxedo, who looked like an old butler, said with a hint of British translator's accent. Miss, since they are so insincere, I think it's time for us to leave. Etc. Just then, the office door was pushed open. Lin Feng walked in, looking exhausted. He felt a little regretful for running straight over here. Although he was running very fast, he was in a very awkward situation. He was either avoiding vehicles and pedestrians or on the way to avoid vehicles and pedestrians. In the end, even the t-shirt he was wearing was torn by the wind. So much so that he now looks no better than the homeless man picking up bottles on the street. Who are you? Zhao Yingshe frowned, a hint of anger showing on her cold face. After waiting for a long time, the boss from the opposite side didn't show up, but a clumsy kid showed up. Hello, Mr. Zhao. Let me introduce myself. I am the new chairman of the Lei Group, Lin Feng. Lin Feng extended his hand. Zhao Yingshe hesitated for a moment, but out of courtesy, she also extended her hand and shook hands with Lin Feng. You said you were the new chairman of the Lei Group. Zhao Yingshe glanced suspiciously at the female secretary who was serving tea and water next to her, who nodded repeatedly. The old British butler raised his head, his 2 gray beards sticking up high, revealing a look of disdain. Director Lin just took office this morning. Our CEO Lei transferred all of his 51% stake to Director Lin through direct transfer and related party transactions. The female secretary wiped the sweat from her forehead and explained. Zhao Yingshe still didn't believe it. She was only 25 years old this year, but she had taken over the family business for more than 3 years. She had met many bigwigs, but she had never seen anyone like Lin Feng. Yingshe, your identity is not important. I'm not here today to discuss any cooperation with you. After all, the apocalypse is about to break out, and all of this will become a passing cloud. I'm here to meet you, Yingshe. I really miss you, Lin Feng confessed sincerely. Zhao Yingshe, however, looked like she had encountered a pervert and said warily, Mr. Lin, this is the first time we've met today, right? If you continue like this, I will reserve the right to sue you for harassing me. Lin Feng laughed dumbly and said, Yingshe, you like sweets, there is a mole on the right side of your chest, and you like to hum JJ Lin's songs when you take a bath. Need I continue? I know more. Chapter 11. The good cabbage was eaten by the pig. Stop talking. Zhao Yingshui's cheeks flushed in shock. These are her little secrets, known only to her. Even her parents cannot know them in such detail. However, Lin Feng told them all one by one as if they were his own treasures. If Zhao Yingshe hadn't come from a wealthy family and hadn't always been followed by a team of bodyguards wherever she went, she would have almost suspected that Lin Feng was following her all day. Or maybe there's a camera installed on her. But these are not realistic. Why do you know all this? Zhao Yingshe asked warily. Because I come from the future. In the future, we are the closest partners. Lin Feng said with a chuckle. Boy, I'm warning you, my lady hates smooth-talking men the most, you'd better behave yourself. The old butler puffed his beard and glared, warning sternly. Humph, the young lady was a person he had watched grow up since she was a child. She was like a flower on the mountain top. How could such a distinguished person tolerate this oily-tongued boy? The old butler straightened his back proudly, trying to make Lin Feng give up. As a result, a light laugh from the young lady was heard behind him. Then I heard her say, "Interesting, if I choose to believe you, what will you do next?" "Miss." The old butler turned around in surprise, looking at his young lady with an interested look, and could hardly believe his ears. "Uncle Fu, please move aside." Zhao Yingshe came to Lin Feng wearing high heels. The old butler, Uncle Fu, quickly moved aside, looked at his young lady in shock, and walked towards the boy. "What's going on? This kid is a constant stream of lies. I guess he can't even fool an elementary school student. How come a lady who has always been rational in her dealings with others fell for this boy's trick? Is it because this guy looks a little handsome? But not that handsome." Uncle Fu was almost crying, with a feeling of emptiness in his chest, as if his cabbages had been eaten by pigs. "I want to share some information about the future with you, and then discuss with you how to better survive in the apocalypse." Lin Feng's brows relaxed slightly. Zhao Yingshui's personality really hadn't changed. He exudes an innate calmness, confidence, and even a bit of ego, of a superior, and he has great faith in his own feelings. But her judgment is always accurate. Except for the last time, when I chose the coexistence faction. It was precisely because of Zhao Yingshui's character that Lin Feng did not beat around the bush, but directly confessed his identity to her. Because this is the best way to gain Zhao Yingshui's trust. No need to say more, she will make her own judgment. The future. The end of the world. Zhao Yingshe smiled and said, "Interesting. I'd like to hear what kind of interesting story Mr. Lin Feng can tell." Lin Feng also laughed. He knew that the more sarcastic his tone was, the more it showed that he had gained Zhao Yingshui's trust. Because this is her unique way of expression. In the previous life, Lin Feng was very close to her, so he naturally knew these little habits of hers. "Okay, it's still early, let's sit down and talk." Watching the two of them sit down, Uncle Fu and the female secretary looked at each other and showed helpless expressions. Isn't the topic of today's meeting the possibility of cooperation between the Lei Group and the Zhao Group in the warehouse supermarket field? How did it become a storytelling session? End of the world. Zombies. It's simply a fairy tale. So, the apocalypse will happen in less than 5 hours. More than 80% of the world's population will be infected with a spore virus and turned into zombies. Aside from the first group of susceptible people who will be directly infected by the spores exposed in the air, other humans will also turn into zombies after being bitten by zombies. A group of awakened people with special abilities will become the last guardians of human civilization. After listening to Lin Feng's story, Uncle Fu couldn't help but snort coldly. This setting has long been popular. Not to mention other places, even on Tomato Novel, you can find a lot of them if you search. Lin Feng actually had the nerve to say it so seriously. Moreover, it seems that my young lady even believed it. Looking at the increasingly solemn expression on Zhao Yingshui's face, Uncle Fu's heart ached. "Miss, are you really going to be kidnapped by this boy?" "No, don't do this kind of thing. Since there are still 5 hours left, what should we do?" Zhao Yingshe raised her head and asked. "If I remember correctly, the Zhao Group's main business is large-scale warehouse supermarkets. In Dongguan province alone, there are 5 chain stores, right?" Lin Feng asked. Zhao Yingshe nodded and said, "Yes, the Zhao Group has 38 large-scale warehouse supermarkets across the country. But Lin Feng, it's too late to stock up on supplies now, right? Or do you have spatial abilities?" Zhao Yingshui's eyes suddenly lit up and she asked. Lin Feng smiled and said, "That's right." Zhao Yingshui's eyes flashed with surprise as she said, "Then at least we can stock up enough supplies for a warehouse supermarket." "Uncle Fu, which warehouse supermarket is the closest to here? Call their department manager and tell him that headquarters will take over immediately." "Lin Feng, shall we set off?" After Zhao Yingshe finished speaking, she stood up and walked out in a hurry. Uncle Fu stood there in a daze, his fingers sliding across the phone screen suddenly froze in midair. He was just about to find a few novels on Tomato Novel to prove that Lin Feng was making up stories. As a result, Zhao Yingshe had already completely believed him and started to take action. "Miss, no, wait for me." Uncle Fu sighed and quickly dialed a number. "Forget it, this kid's story-making skills are not very good anyway. The truth will be revealed in 5 hours. Before that, just think of it as playing house with the lady." Lei Group, rooftop helipad. A private helicopter took off with a whoosh. Lin Feng turned his head and looked at Zhao Yingshui's almost perfect profile, and couldn't help but smile knowingly. This feeling is so good. It would be better if there were no apocalypse. Zhao Yingshui noticed Lin Feng's gaze and said embarrassedly, Lin Feng, why are you staring at me? Is there something on my face? No, I just think it looks good. Lin Feng said sincerely. Uncle Fu, who was operating the plane in the front, snorted coldly. Men are really liars and lying ghosts. I must be extra careful and never let this kid succeed. Oh, by the way, Lin Feng, since you are from the future, then tell me, what talent did I finally awaken? Zhao Yingshui's pretty face flushed, and she changed the subject and asked. A-level talent, jumping. Lin Feng answered truthfully. Oh. Zhao Yingshui felt a little disappointed after getting this answer. From Lin Feng, she learned about the level classification of talents. A-level talent was only considered average. After all, above level A, there are level S, level SS, and level SSS. However, there is an opportunity now to mutate your talent. Are you willing? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and said. Chapter 12 Space Jump. Oh, tell me about it. Zhao Yingshui said with interest. If you do this, you'll have the opportunity to awaken your talent early, and there's a certain chance of mutation. Lin Feng suddenly thought of Bai Diandian. After drinking his blood, the little guy actually awakened his talent ahead of time and even underwent a mutation, gaining another SSS-level talent, Purple Thunder. So, if the same method is used on Zhao Yingshui, will there be a similar effect? Lin Feng was not completely sure, but this was definitely a method worth trying. After all, the current situation is extremely critical and any possible opportunity cannot be missed. Boy, you are too arrogant. How dare you act like a hooligan towards my young lady? Miss, do you need me to throw this guy out of the plane? Uncle Fu was so angry that he was shaking all over. He gripped the joystick tightly with both hands, causing the helicopter to shake violently. Zhao Yingshui's face was flushed, she lowered her head, biting her red lips with her silver teeth, as if she was struggling with her conscience. Seeing this, Lin Feng was stunned. Is Zhao Yingshui fainting from blood? That shouldn't be the case. In her previous life, she killed gods and Buddhas, and she was never afraid even when zombies sprayed her with blood. Don't worry, you don't need too much, about 2 milliliters is enough, just a few drops. Lin Feng quickly added. Is there really no other way? Zhao Yingshui's face flushed hotly, and her gaze slowly moved from Lin Feng's face to his body. Lin Feng was a little surprised, but nodded. For now, this is the only method worth trying. Zhao Yingshui closed her eyes, looking resigned to her fate. I know, come on. No. At this moment, Uncle Fu's heart of Taoism collapsed instantly. Is this always pure young lady going to be soiled like this? You little bastard, if you dare to take off your pants today, I will fight you even if I am torn to pieces. Uncle Fu said angrily. Forehead. Lin Feng was stunned. Isn't it just to get a few drops of blood? Just cut your finger, why do you have to take off your pants? After a few seconds, he reacted, raised the corners of his mouth, and stared at Zhao Yingshui meaningfully for a while. I didn't expect that under the pure appearance, there actually lived the soul of an old driver. Closing your eyes, are you expecting something? Lin Feng smiled, coughed twice, and said, ahem, sorry, I didn't explain it clearly. It's blood. As long as you drink my blood, there is a chance that your talent will mutate. But, speaking of which, what are you all thinking about? Hearing this, Zhao Yingshui's face turned even redder. Uncle Fu also fell silent. Is he really evil? No, it's all because of the way this kid speaks. It's so easy to cause misunderstanding. Lin Feng ignored Uncle Fu, but cut his finger and squeezed a few drops of blood into Zhao Yingshui's cherry mouth. Snap! Blood dripped onto the tip of the tongue, flowed down the throat into the body, and a feeling of heat quickly spread throughout the body. The blood that caused this heat now seemed to have turned into nectar, bringing a cool feeling to Zhao Yingshui and suppressing the heat in her body. Zhao Yingshui couldn't help it anymore, so she leaned over, hugged Lin Feng's arm, put his finger in her mouth, and sucked it hard. Lin Feng remained calm and imagined himself as Lu Shuwei. But soon, he discovered something wrong. Zhao Yingshui actually sucked away a lot of blood from his body through the small wound on his finger. Lin Feng's eyes turned black and his face turned pale. Yingshui. Just as Lin Feng was about to wake up Zhao Yingshui, a violent heat wave suddenly rose from her body, bouncing the two of them to the sides. Bang! Lin Feng slammed hard into the steel door of the helicopter, leaving a dent shaped like a human. Even with Lin Feng's current physical strength, he felt a pain. Yingshe. What's even more terrifying is that when he came to his senses, he found that Zhao Yingshe had disappeared in the cabin. Lin Feng looked around but couldn't find Zhao Yingshe, and was immediately shocked. Where is the young lady? Boy, I'm warning you, if anything happens to the young lady, I'll kill you even if it means I die. After Uncle Fu stabilized the helicopter, he also became panicked. They are hundreds of meters in the air. Where can the lady go? Uncle Fu, I'm fine. Lin Feng, thank you. My talent has indeed changed. From A-level jump, it has become SS-level talent, space jump. The next moment, Zhao Yingshui's figure suddenly appeared, as if she had never disappeared. Lin Feng was startled, then smiled and said, "That's great. SS-level talent is still in the top tier even in the late apocalypse. Talents above S-level are already rare. Among the awakened people in the world, only 0.01% have awakened talents above S-level. According to the current population of the world, out of 8 billion people, there are only tens of thousands of awakened people above S-level." Zhao Yingshe smiled mysteriously and said, "It's not just the SS-level talent, space jump. I've also awakened another SS-level talent, the Eye of Insight. SSS-level talent, Eye of Insight." In his previous life, Lin Feng had encountered similar insight talents and knew that those who awakened with this kind of talent had the ability to see through everything in the world. What Zhao Yingshe awakened was the SSS level ceiling of insight-type talents, the Eye of Insight. In this way, those idiots of the coexistence faction shouldn't be able to fool her, right? Thinking of this, Lin Feng felt relieved and was sincerely happy for Zhao Yingshe. What the hell, miss, are you serious? Is the end of the world really coming? Uncle Fu saw the whole scene that just happened and was shocked. The lady disappeared from the cabin out of thin air and then reappeared. Is this some kind of special ability? Is everything this kid said true? If this really is the end of the world, then we have to hurry up and stock up on supplies. That's what it says in the novels. Uncle Fu's expression tensed and he began to accelerate the helicopter. Uncle Fu, it's okay if you drive slowly. Lin Feng and I will go ahead. Zhao Yingshe blinked, grabbed Lin Feng's arm, and the next moment, her talent was activated. Space jump. Lin Feng didn't have any special feeling. He just felt that they seemed to have come to a higher dimensional space in the blink of an eye. When he blinked again, he appeared in the sky about 800 meters away from the helicopter. A feeling of falling instantly spread throughout my body. Beside her, Zhao Yingshe said sheepishly, "With my current mastery of space jumps, I can only jump a maximum of 800 meters at a time." Lin Feng. Chapter 13 Hot Policewoman, Catching the Murderer Online. But I can use it 10 times a day. Zhao Yingshe blinked her big eyes mischievously, grabbed Lin Feng's arm, and jumped again. The two figures disappeared out of thin air, and the next moment they appeared 800 meters away. After repeating this process, at the end of the last jump, the two arrived at a large warehouse of a warehouse supermarket under the Zhao Group. Looking at the dazzling array of goods neatly stacked in front of him, Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. Deposit. Then, Lin Feng snapped his fingers, and an entire shelf of goods disappeared along with the shelf. Deposit. Deposit. Lin Feng didn't stop and snapped his fingers several times in succession. Until this warehouse filled with goods became empty. Zhao Yingshui's beautiful eyes were shining as she looked at Lin Feng's back. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but raise up an arc, revealing a faint smile. Done, call it a day. Lin Feng turned around gracefully, and Zhao Yingshe followed him and walked out together. At this time, a staff member in a blue uniform walked in. Looking at the empty and clean warehouse in front of him, the barcode gun in his hand fell to the ground with a click. There was an expression on his face as if he had seen a ghost. Oh my god, what's going on? Captain Wen, this is the situation. Lin Feng rented a helicopter from the Jiangning helicopter base this morning and headed to the Shangjiang Wildlife Park. He kicked 2 maned dogs to death and then left on a winged white tiger. According to the Sky Eye system, he appeared near Phoenix Mountain at 7:10 a.m. It is speculated that he went to the Lei family manor. He left the Lei family manor at 11:30 a.m. and reappeared at the Lei group headquarters at 12 p.m. The last time he was seen was in front of the Zhao's warehouse supermarket in Xishang City. We have already sent police officers to investigate separately, and we expect to have feedback soon. Hong Kong City Police Department. Inside an office. While listening to her subordinate's reports, Wen Shanshan stared at the map on the projector and frowned tightly. Something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong. The distance between the points where Lin Feng frequently moved was too large. From Shangjiang to Phoenix Mountain, there was a distance of 800 kilometers. From Phoenix Mountain to the headquarters of the Lei Group, there was a distance of 100 kilometers. Then to Xishang City, there was a distance of 50 kilometers. And the time he spent between each section was extremely short. Especially from Shangjiang to Phoenix Mountain, 800 kilometers, it only takes 10 minutes. Is this possible? Moreover, rather than being on the run, his movements seemed more like he was flaunting himself in public, as if silently challenging them to come and catch me. Xiao Lu, has the technical department come to a conclusion? Is that video a composite special effect, or do white tigers with 3 pairs of wings really exist in this world? After asking this question, Wen Shanshan smiled self-deprecatingly. Although she has only been working for a few years, she was promoted to police chief a year ago because of her outstanding work ability. Following scientific methods in handling cases has always been her principle. But at this moment, this principle was shaken. Because no matter which aspect they approached, they could not prove how Lin Feng could get from Shangjiang to Phoenix Mountain in just 10 minutes. This is totally unscientific. Unless, that white tiger with wings is real. Officer Xiao Lu was silent for a moment, then nodded and said, "My colleagues from the technical department said this video doesn't show any signs of being censored, so it's probably real." Wen Shanshan was stunned and turned to look at Xiao Lu. Xiao Lu, a male police officer who is 1.8 meters tall, immediately lowered his head. So, no kidding. If this is true, then this is a serious matter. Is Lin Feng, who controls this supernatural power, a good guy or a bad guy? Just now, colleagues from all over the country have sent in feedback. Lin Feng is currently involved in more than 20 murders. Among them, 20 bodyguards, including Lei Zhongguang, were all killed in the Lei family manor. Captain Wen, given that Lin Feng is an extremely dangerous suspect, should we set off for Xishang City now and arrest him? Xiao Lu looked at the information that had just been updated on the tablet in his hand, took a breath, and then said. Wen Shanshan's pupils trembled slightly, and the last bit of hope she had for Lin Feng vanished. She said solemnly, "No, we're not going to Xishang City. With Lin Feng's speed, I'm afraid he'll be somewhere else by the time we get there. Let's go directly to Jiangning City. I have a feeling he will definitely return to Jiangning next." Xiao Lu was a little surprised, but still obeyed the order. Captain Wen is a man who can predict the future like a god in their police station. So you won't go wrong if you listen to her. Go and assemble the team, and notify Jiangning City to dispatch the special police team to cooperate with our operation. Wen Shanshan said in a deep voice. Yes. Xishang City, Zhao's warehouse supermarket. In front of the helipad at the main entrance of the supermarket, Uncle Fu wiped the sweat from his head and hurried over. Miss, I've already calmed down the department manager here. She promised not to call the police. Where are we going next? Zhao Yingshe glanced at Lin Feng and said with a smile, Lin Feng, you should go back to Jiangning, right? Lin Feng was slightly stunned and nodded. He was about to ask, how did you know? When he realized that Zhao Yingshe had awakened the SSS level talent, the Eye of Insight. Therefore, it shouldn't be difficult to see through his thoughts. Yingshe, you will go with me, right? Jiangning City is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides and has the sea at its back, making it a very suitable place for a gathering place. I plan to build it into my own base, but I'm not good at management, so. Lin Feng invited sincerely. Whether from an emotional or other perspective, Lin Feng hopes that Zhao Yingshe can be with him. However, Zhao Yingshe shook her head and said, Lin Feng, I will go to Jiangning to find you, but not now. I still have a lot of things to deal with. You know, the Zhao family is a very large family. There are my relatives and my enemies in it. I must properly settle them all. Besides, you don't want me to go to Jiangning right now, right? There are 2 other beauties waiting for you there. Zhao Yingshe said this in a playful tone, and then followed Uncle Fu onto the helicopter. Lin Feng was a little embarrassed for a moment. He really didn't know whether Zhao Yingshui's awakening of the Eye of Insight was a good thing or a bad thing. Lin Feng, we will definitely meet again. Zhao Yingshe turned around and smiled, but her laughter was soon drowned out by the wheezing sound of the helicopter taking off. Lin Feng smiled and shook his head. The talent of insight was indeed terrifying. It seems that if I have the chance in the future, I still have to plunder 1 or 2 talents that can conceal my own aura. Before leaving, Zhao Yingshe gave Lin Feng the key to another helicopter. At this moment, Lin Feng was flying the helicopter towards Jiangning City. AD 2055, May 9, 1:01 p.m. There are 4 hours and 29 minutes left until the apocalypse. Chapter 14. You said you would pack up, but you packed up the entire dock. Boss, the goods you want are all here. How do you want to pay? Jiangning Port. This is the largest seaport in the entire Jiang province. Cargo transportation is frequent and the dock is filled with various containers. A thin man with a thick gold chain around his neck and a few gold nuggets on his fingers was talking to Lin Feng. This morning, Lin Feng called him and ordered 200 tons of frozen goods worth 5 million yuan, which made him a huge profit. Facing the big money sponsor, Zhang Cheng's attitude was very polite. Lin Feng was too lazy to say anything more. He pointed at the container behind him and asked, "Are these all your goods?" Zhang Cheng nodded quickly. "I want them all." "How much?" Lin Feng asked. Zhang Cheng's heart skipped a beat, and he exclaimed in ecstasy, "Here are 10 containers, 1,000 tons of cargo. Boss, if you take them all, I'll give you a 20% discount, 20 million. Lin Feng nodded and directly threw out a black card. Ever since plundering Lei Zhongguang, Lin Feng's current wealth has become frighteningly large. Zhang Cheng took the black card and verified it on the POS machine. Sure enough, there was a 20 million balance. He immediately nodded and thanked him. "Boss, you're so generous. Do you need me to arrange a few trucks to deliver it to your door?" "It's the Imperial Hotel, right?" This morning, when Lin Feng placed an order, he left the address of the Daihao Hotel. Lin Feng glanced at Zhang Cheng. He didn't really dislike this kind of dealer. Although their methods were very unconventional, as long as the money was in place, things could be done. "No need, the money and goods are settled, I can handle the rest myself," Lin Feng said lightly. Zhang Cheng quickly said, "Boss, please do as you please." Lin Feng snapped his fingers repeatedly, and the 10 containers behind Zhang Cheng disappeared out of thin air. After doing all this, Lin Feng looked at the colorful containers on the dock and suddenly had some other thoughts. "Let me ask you, what are the containers at this dock filled with?" Zhang Cheng answered without hesitation, "This is the largest dock and shipping center in Jiang province. They handle everything, but because Jiangning is hosting a food expo soon, there's more food here." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Very good, my extra-dimensional space is big enough to fit all the containers at the dock." Another dimension. Zhang Cheng was a little puzzled and wondered if this sponsor was mentally ill, but he didn't say it. Lin Feng didn't stay for too long and left in a flash. After Lin Feng left, Zhang Cheng put his hands in his pockets, whistled comfortably, and then prepared to arrange workers to transfer the goods to the warehouse first. The rent of a warehouse is much cheaper than that of a dock. As a result, when he turned around, he found that there was nothing behind him. "Where is the trace of the goods? Where are my goods?" Zhang Cheng was stunned, revealing 2 gold teeth in his mouth, which shone brightly in the sunlight. Then, something even more incredible happened. The dock, which was extremely crowded a moment ago, has seen containers disappear one after another, and is now extremely empty. Apart from a few trucks that were still moving slowly, only the cargo owners were left, staring at each other. What the hell is this? Zhang Cheng held the black card in his hand, and an inexplicable premonition arose in his heart. Another dimension. Could it be that the big money sponsor just now really has another dimension? Did he load up all the containers at the dock? "Boss, the banquet is ready and can be served anytime. What time do you want to start?" Kaidia Hotel. The lobby manager spoke politely to Lin Feng. "No need to start the meal, I'll pack it up." Lin Feng replied. "Pack." The lobby manager's smile froze, and he replied, "Boss, this is 100 tables of banquet. Take me to the kitchen." Lin Feng said. The lobby manager had no choice but to nod and take Lin Feng to the kitchen. More than a dozen chefs were busy preparing large pots, dozens of steamers were steaming and emitting fragrant aroma. A banquet of the largest scale with 100 tables was a big order even for the star-rated Hotel Kaidia. "Boss, how about I arrange for someone to deliver the banquet to your house?" The lobby manager wiped the sweat off his face and said. Lin Feng rolled his eyes at him, then tossed out a bank card and said, "There's 1 million in here, is that enough to pay off the balance?" The lobby manager took the bank card and immediately smiled. "Enough, enough. Now that the money and goods are settled, I can pack up everything and take it away." Snap. Lin Feng smiled faintly and snapped his fingers several times. The red-hot pot and steaming steamer disappeared one after another. Immediately afterwards, Lin Feng's figure turned into a gust of wind and disappeared. After packing up the banquets at several hotels, Lin Feng returned to the Daihao Hotel. Here, surrounded by mountains and the sea, the main building is built halfway up the mountain, which is easy to defend and difficult to attack, making it suitable as a base. The campus of Jiangning University is right below the Daihao Hotel. Standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows on the top floor, you can take in the entire Jiangning University town. If the Emperor Hotel is used as a base, Jiangning University can be built into a gathering place that can accommodate more than 30,000 people, which is quite large. In the end times, fighting alone will not work. Only by building power can we gain more say. Anyone who establishes power will also have a special kind of luck and many benefits. Imperial Hotel, top floor presidential suite. Lin Feng poured himself a glass of red wine and stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. Overlooking the bustling Jiangning University, and further ahead, there is the endless sea. 4:07 p.m. It was low tide, and the waves on the sea were getting higher and higher, hitting the rocks on the shore and creating white foam. There is still 1 hour and 23 minutes until the end of the world. According to Lin Feng's instructions, the Indian had already brought Lei Shuyu here. At this moment, the man and the beast were resting on their sides. Time seemed to slow down. Lin Feng was no longer in a hurry to do anything. Now, just wait quietly for the end of the world to come. After the apocalypse breaks out, there will inevitably be a group of saints who are confused about the situation. Lin Feng has never tolerated such idiots. When the end of the world comes, kill the Virgin Mary first. Lin Feng stretched, lay down on the velvet bed, and fell into a deep sleep. Frequent use of the other dimensional space brought him a great mental burden. Lin Feng, I'm here at the Imperial Hotel looking for you. Which room are you in? Not long after, Chen Zi called him. Top floor, presidential suite. Lin Feng replied simply. We should take care of this little lowly Chen Zi. Drop, drop. The door was opened, and first Chen Zi walked in timidly, followed by a team of fully armed special police rushing in. Wen Shanshan was wearing a tight special combat uniform, twisting her slender waist, and walking in the front. I'm sorry, Lin Feng, I didn't call the police. They forced me to bring them here. Chen Zi lowered her head and said embarrassedly. Chapter 15. Being alive is the greatest justice. Are you Lin Feng? Wen Shanshan looked at Lin Feng warily and asked. I am. Lin Feng nodded. Wen Shanshan immediately raised the Type 92 pistol in her hand, aimed at Lin Feng's chest, took a deep breath, and said. Lin Feng, I'm Wen Shanshan, captain of the Shangjiang City Special Police Brigade. My police number is 00009527. You are under arrest for suspected murder, robbery, and other crimes. Surrender. Behind Wen Shanshan were more than a dozen Special Forces soldiers, all holding 79 light submachine guns in their hands, guarding the door in full readiness. Judging from the situation, there must be more than just these people. They must have been deployed in the corridor outside the room, the lobby on the first floor of the hotel, the street outside the hotel, and on the high-rise building opposite. It's no exaggeration to say that it's a dragnet. But Lin Feng had no intention of escaping at all. He calmly took out his cell phone and took a look. It was May 9, 2025, 5:27 p.m. Well, there are 3 minutes left. In 3 minutes, the end of the world will come, and the existing rules will be rewritten in an instant. By then, there will be no more constraints on taking action. Captain Wen, right, let's talk. Lin Feng smiled faintly. Wen Shanshan frowned slightly, remaining alert, and asked tentatively, what is there for us to talk about? If you have anything to confess, you can explain it slowly when we get to the police station. Lin Feng ignored her and asked, Captain Wen, what kind of person am I in your opinion? Atrocious. Extremely heinous crimes. Or, is it a crime worthy of death? After hearing this, Wen Shanshan felt a surge of justice in her heart. She put down her gun and asked coldly, Lin Feng, you killed Tang Long, Pan Tiantian, and more than 20 people in the Lei family manor. They all died at your hands. You are a demon. Haha, so in Captain Wen's eyes, I'm a devil. Lin Feng smiled and nodded, but, what if I tell you that the people I killed were all extremely evil and deserved to die? Tang Long, relying on his status as the third young master of the Tang family, committed at least 20 crimes at school, forcing several young girls to death. Pan Tiantian, as his accomplice, is equally guilty. Lei Zhongguang, Hong Kong's richest man, is a beloved philanthropist on the surface, but he secretly breeds and abuses wild animals for fun. Countless precious animals have died at his hands. Wen Shanshan frowned and said in a cold tone, Lin Feng, even if they are guilty, they should be judged by the law, not you. You are not qualified to judge anyone. I'm not qualified. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and smiled. Yes, I'm not qualified, but, Captain Wen, is the law you mentioned omnipotent? The law is just a ruler. People like Tang Long, Lei Zhongguang, and others have plenty of ways to evade the law. Excuse me, who should judge them? Having said this, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. He said these words not on a whim, but because Wen Shanshan was not a stranger and Lin Feng had some interactions with her in his previous life. However, Lin Feng's evaluation of her as the first holy mother of the end times. In her previous life, the Wen family behind Wen Shanshan, relying on its considerable influence in the system, quickly took control of the country's largest arsenal after the outbreak of the apocalypse, and formed a force that could not be underestimated, the Army of Justice. 3 years after the end of the world, Lin Feng followed Zhao Yingshe and met Wen Shanshan briefly. At that time, among the 3 generations of the Wen family, only Wen Shanshan was left alive. So it was natural for her to become the commander-in-chief of the Army of Justice. However, even after experiencing the baptism of the cruel apocalypse for several years, Wen Shanshan is still a complete saint, unconditionally extending a helping hand to all survivors. As a result, many people from hostile forces disguised themselves as survivors and took the opportunity to sneak into her sphere of influence. By coordinating internal and external forces, they defeated the Army of Justice. The powerful firepower reserves in the armory were also divided up by these groups and eventually used in internal conflicts within the human camp. Wen Shanshan, who possessed SSS-level talent, died in that melee inexplicably. Hence, the conversation just now took place. Lin Feng knew very well that it would be very difficult to convince the Virgin Mary. But at least, plant a seed in her mind. Lin Feng, I don't agree with you. Justice may be late, but it will never be absent. Wen Shanshan argued with reason. Haha, justice delayed is of no use. As Lin Feng spoke, he narrowed his eyes and stared at a special forces soldier behind Wen Shanshan. At this moment, he was behaving a little strangely, scratching his neck continuously, and he was completely unaware even though his flesh had been torn and his bones were exposed. At this moment, on the wall clock in the room, the hour hand and minute hand point in 2 directions respectively. 17:30. The end of the world began quietly. It's almost time, Captain Wen. I think it's necessary to explain the current situation to you. Lin Feng arched his back, and suddenly exerted force with his legs, shooting forward like a cheetah. Then, with a click, Lin Feng broke the Special Forces soldier's neck with the rise and fall of his palms. It sounds complicated, but it actually happens in just a few seconds. Ah! Chen Zi, who had little presence, suddenly screamed in a shrill voice and squatted under the table with her head in her hands. Seeing this, Wen Shanshan got a drop of cold sweat on her forehead and instantly aimed the gun at Lin Feng. He reacts so quickly, is he still human? Ouch! Roar, roar, roar. A slight roaring sound was heard from the side room, and it transformed into a blue-winged purple thunder tiger king again, squeezed out of the narrow door of the room, jumped up, and its huge body blocked the floor-to-ceiling window. Bang! Bang! The sound of dense bursts of gunfire came from the side of the floor-to-ceiling window. The sniper ambushing in the opposite high-rise building opened fire. However, those sniper bullets with extremely strong penetrating power seemed to be fixed when they hit the body dotted with purple lightning. They spun desperately in the air and could not move forward at all. The Special Forces members present all had expressions as if they had seen a ghost. Lin Feng said calmly, Captain Wen, just now, the apocalypse broke out. A kind of brown spores lurking in the air, invisible to the naked eye, are invading the blue planet. 80% of the world's population will be infected, turning into emotionless zombies that feed on surviving humans. And the remaining 20% will completely abandon moral values in order to survive. Sometimes, they treat their own kind even more cruelly than zombies. Captain Wen, the rules of the world have changed. Now, staying alive is the greatest justice. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng twisted the head of another Special Forces soldier off. Outside the door and in the corridor, there was already chaos. The Special Forces members who were so close to each other a moment ago are now hugging each other and biting each other. Except for their ferocious faces, it seems that their relationship is even better. There was a sudden burst of gunfire. But the infected zombies at this moment have already lost the most basic sense of pain, so how could they be afraid of the damage caused by a mere bullet? Chapter 16 Upgrade, Man of Steel. The End of the World. Zombies. May 9, 2025, 5:30 p.m. The end of the world breaks out, and the rules of the world are rewritten in this instant. From now on, being alive is the greatest justice. Wen Shanshan's fair forehead was covered with beads of sweat. Her arms, holding the pistols, began to tremble with fear. Before her eyes, her teammates, who had once fought side by side with her, turned into mad monsters one after another, biting each other. Ah! The desperate screams came one after another, making people's eardrums hurt. A strong smell of blood in the air violently filled the nostrils. The long and narrow hotel corridor was covered with blood, and pieces of flesh that could not be distinguished were everywhere, just like a ukiyo-e painting of hell. Wen Shanshan frowned. She found that her legs were as heavy as if they were filled with lead, and she couldn't move at all. As the captain of the Special Police Brigade, she has led the team to carry out many dangerous missions and witnessed many bloody scenes. But never before had it been so shocking, and had she been so instinctively afraid, as this time. But the man seemed to be accustomed to such scenes. He moved freely among the monsters with just his bare hands. To call them monsters is not accurate. To be precise, zombies. Just like the zombies in the movie, Resident Evil, she had seen, they were violent, bloodthirsty, moved in an animalistic manner, and fed on ordinary humans. Before they evolved, the nerve centers of ordinary zombies were completely attached to their spines. Just breaking their necks or shooting them in the head would kill them. Officer Wen, this is simple, right? Lin Feng said as he casually broke the neck of another zombie. Wen Shanshan was stunned for a moment, and for some reason, she nodded. Really, is it that simple? These zombies were all Special Forces members in their lifetime, with strong bodies and fighting skills engraved in their muscles. Even after becoming zombies, they only retained the instincts of living beings, their IQ was close to zero, and they could not use firearms. But, it is still very difficult. Relying on his B-level talent, muscle strengthening, Lin Feng was invincible and killed 7 or 8 brainless zombies in succession. At this moment, a familiar voice sounded in my mind. Bite. SSS level talent, God level recovery, and SSS level talent, fighting will upgrade, have now awakened. God level recovery, SSS level talent, granting the awakened one nearly unlimited vitality. Exclusive feature, God level recovery. Exclusive skills, God level healing, God level stripping, God level resurrection. Current talent level, first order. Fighting will upgrade, SSS level talent. The awakened can convert fighting will into attribute upgrade points to upgrade any of their own attributes, skills, and talents. Exclusive feature, innate fighting will. Exclusive skill, upgrade. Current talent level, first level. Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and he immediately ran away and killed another infected zombie. Snap. The crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. A voice also sounded in Lin Feng's mind. Ding. Detected that the awakened is full of fighting spirit. Killed 10 zombies and obtained 10 fighting spirit points. Do you want to use the upgrade? Upgrade, muscle strengthening. Lin Feng shouted softly, and added all the 10 fighting points he had accumulated to the muscle strengthening talent. Consume 10 battle points, and successfully upgrade muscle enhancement to A-level talent, Iron Body. The next upgrade requires 500 battle points. A curtain of light appeared before my eyes. Name, Lin Feng. Race, human. Talents, Sequence 1, Plunder, SSS level. God level recovery, SSS level. Upgraded fighting will, SSS level. Boiling beast blood, A level. Body of steel. Skills, upgrade, boiling beast blood currently available. Eagle, bear, leopard divine healing, divine stripping, divine resurrection, iron body. Open black lens bracket weapon, none close black lens bracket. Battle pet, blue-winged purple thunder tiger king, level 1. As we all know, talents are divided into different levels. Below the SSS level, all talents are only at the first level. Once a level is broken, they may be upgraded to another talent. The SSS level talent has 9 levels. As for what the world is like after the 9th level, Lin Feng doesn't know. In his previous life, he had never reached that height. However, it was a pleasant surprise that the B-level talent, muscle strengthening, was upgraded to the A-level talent, steel body, by consuming only 10 battle points. Lin Feng's fighting spirit grew stronger. He used his natural iron body to punch out, smashing a zombie's head into pieces. A red and white object burst out from it. Dian, take good care of them, I'll be back soon. Lin Feng said this lightly, then used the boiling beast blood to gain the speed of a cheetah, turned into a gust of wind and rushed to the end of the corridor. Today is the weekend, and there are many young couples staying in the hotel who come here to relax. Most of them have been infected and turned into zombies, wandering in the corridors. There were also many rooms with locked doors, but one could hear terrible screams from inside. Lin Feng's goal was to quickly accumulate fighting points, so he did not waste any of these zombies. Great, you must be here to rescue us, right? When Lin Feng arrived at the 11th floor and had dealt with most of the zombies in the corridor, the door of one of the rooms opened with a click. A young man and woman poked their heads out from the crowd. The man said ecstatically, "Brother, you've taken care of all these monsters. Are we saved? Lin Feng, are you Lin Feng? Sister Tiantian's boyfriend, Ba, Sister Tiantian's boyfriend." Lin Feng turned his head and saw the girl's face clearly. She was Pan Tiantian's best friend, Lu Ruyan. It is said that she also has a boyfriend from the countryside, but it is obvious that he is not the yellow-haired guy in front of her. Lin Feng, considering that Sister Tiantian and I are good friends, can you save me? Brother, we are from the same school. Please help me. I have money. As long as you can get Ruyan and I out of this hellhole, I will give you whatever amount of money you want. The yellow-haired man smiled, his tone sincere, but there was a hint of contempt in his eyes. He had heard about Lin Feng's deeds from Lu Ruyan. Poor people like them would be willing to eat shit as long as they were paid. Lin Feng also smiled and turned to walk towards them. Dude, that's right. Taking a wider path will benefit you in the future. Wang Mao stretched out his hand with a smile, and Lin Feng also stretched out his hand and shook hands with him. The next moment, Lin Feng suddenly exerted force with his forearm and pulled the yellow-haired man out. Fuck! The yellow-haired man staggered and almost fell to the ground. When he reacted and raised his head. But in front of him, he saw a fat zombie woman wearing a floral dress and an impressive waistline, with sticky and smelly saliva hanging from her fangs, looking at him greedily. At this time, apart from a few wandering zombies, where was Lin Feng in the corridor? Ah! Wang Mao screamed at the top of his lungs, turned around desperately and ran towards the room. But the door of the room was slammed shut. Huang, Mr. Huang, please don't blame me. I'm also afraid of being bitten by zombies. Lu Ruyan leaned against the door and spoke while trembling all over. Chapter 17. Kill, the Fusion. Fuck you, Lu Ruyan, you stinky bitch, open the door for me. I paid for the room. Open the door, open the door. Bang, bang, bang. Smelly bitch, open the door. Bang, bang, bang. Open the door, hiss, ah. It hurts so much, it hurts so much. Gulp, gulp, gulp. The sound of banging on the door gradually became slower from the violent sound at the beginning. Huang Xiao's cursing voice gradually turned into a vague and meaningless pronunciation. This was accompanied by a teeth-aching chewing sound. I don't know how long it took. It finally got quiet outside. Lu Ruyan's heart sank. She slowly got up from the ground and looked out through the cat's eye. Ah! The scene before her frightened Lu Ruyan so much that she took several steps back, letting out a sound of fear from her throat. But when she realized something was wrong, she covered her mouth with her hands. Bang, bang, bang. There was a rhythmic knocking sound on the door. Outside the door, Huang Xiao, whose half-head was bitten off and only an eyeball remained, drooping from the eye socket, dragged his mutilated body and kept banging on the door. Like smoke. From his vocal cords that had been bitten to pieces, one could vaguely make out the syllables of these words. Lu Ruyan's face was filled with fear. She knelt on the ground, not daring to make a sound. The Imperial Hotel has a total of 21 floors. Lin Feng fought his way from the top floor to the lobby on the first floor, almost clearing out all the zombies in the entire hotel, but in the end he only gained 52 fighting points. There is no way around it. The fighting points are calculated based on the fighting spirit generated by Lin Feng during the battle. At the beginning, killing an ordinary zombie will give you 1 fighting point. But later, only 0.1 points were left. The enemy was too weak to inspire Lin Feng's fighting spirit again. He needed a stronger enemy. But now, there are only a dozen minutes left before the apocalypse breaks out, so it is impossible for a corpse king or even more powerful being to appear. It will take 3 days until the spores spread over a large enough area, and ordinary zombies will merge and evolve with each other, and zombie kings with a certain degree of intelligence and the ability to command the zombie group will be born one after another. As for the ranked corpse king with fleshy wings on its back and special abilities, it will hatch on the cocooning day, 3 months later. Before this, there were mostly small zombies like ordinary zombies. Lin Feng sighed and pressed the elevator button. Since there is no way to quickly gain fighting points anyway, there is no point in continuing to eliminate these zombies. 21st floor, Presidential Suite. The corridor on this floor has become quiet. Apart from some body parts piled on the ground, there is nothing else worth noting. Lin Feng came to the room and opened the door. At this moment, a bullet flew past his cheek and hit the wall on the other side of the hotel. The high temperature of the high-speed rotating bullet burned Lin Feng's cheek. Before he could react, another bullet was fired. Bang! Lin Feng quickly used the sofa as a cover and hid behind it. He took a deep breath, but found that there was no trace of Dian here. What is this gunman all about? Could it be Wen Shanshan? Probably not. In her previous life, Wen Shanshan awakened an SSS-level talent, unlimited firepower. The possessor of this talent can remove the firepower restrictions of any firearm, even artillery vehicles and tanks, and fire unlimited ammunition with doubled power. Once the talent is activated, the intensive firepower is enough to destroy everything. Although this gunman's shooting skills are very sharp, his style is completely different from Wen Shanshan's. Otherwise, the unlimited ammunition alone would be enough to get Lin Feng into trouble. Dian, where are you? Although he didn't see Dian, after entering the suite, Lin Feng established a spiritual connection with Dian. Obviously Dian is not far away from here. Master, not long after you left, an awakened person appeared among this group of armed humans, but he was soon bitten by a zombie and became infected. I can't protect all 3 mistresses at the same time, so I took them into the air and waited for the master to return. The awakened one, infected. After hearing this, Lin Feng was also a little surprised. Although this situation is rare, it does happen. Generally, the awakened ones who are infected can be called fusion ones. After they turn into zombies, in addition to retaining their biological instincts and having their physical fitness greatly improved, they can also use their innate abilities, making them even more difficult to deal with. Master, you have to be careful. This zombie's talent is probably related to the ability to aim. Once you're marked by its aura, your bullets will be as accurate as if they have eyes. Dian reminded. Lin Feng nodded, and through a mirror, he finally saw the enemy's appearance clearly. This was a special forces soldier whose body was covered in blood, with only the eye sockets left of his eyes. He was holding a submachine gun in his hand and was slowly approaching him. A fusionist. This feeling of oppression is stronger than that of some corpse kings. A fighting spirit suddenly surged in Lin Feng's chest. War. The next moment, Lin Feng rushed out from behind the sofa as fast as the wind. At this time, the fusionist just reacted, skillfully picked up the submachine gun in his hand, and loaded it with a click. Boom! Lin Feng was even faster. He raised his leg and kicked the fusionist's arm. Both arms were broken at the roots, and the gun was kicked into the air together. Blood suddenly gushed out from the base of his arm, but the fusionist seemed to feel no pain and just stood there frozen in place. He seemed to be still thinking, where did his arms and gun go? Lin Feng didn't give him too much time to think. A fist as hard as steel suddenly hit his head. Like a big watermelon dropped from a high altitude, the fusionist's head exploded instantly. The red and white stuff inside sprayed everywhere. Lin Feng frowned in disgust. It seems that this is a nice presidential suite that cannot be lived in. Ding, detected that the awakened one is full of fighting spirit. Killed a non-fusing one, and gained 5 fighting spirit points. Current balance, 57 fighting spirit points. In my mind, the reminder of talent sounded. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile bitterly. He originally thought that killing a fusionist would give him at least 10 battle points. As a result, it was discounted by 50%. This is no one's fault. The main reason is that he is too strong, and enemies of this level can't inspire him to fight at all. So, is it necessary to deliberately cultivate some enemies? Lin Feng stood in front of the broken French window, overlooking the Jiangning University campus filled with flames and black smoke. The corners of his mouth raised, revealing a dangerous smile. Chapter 18. The target. Plunder. Start. Obtained. B-level talent. Aiming. Can even the talents of the fusionists be plundered? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows, and more possibilities emerged in his mind. The fusionists are zombies, and the high-level corpse kings are also zombies. Being able to plunder the talents of the fusionists, does it mean that even the special abilities of the high-level corpse kings can be plundered? For example, as long as the 12-winged ultimate dark corpse king is killed, its ultimate destruction deadline can be plundered. It's not impossible. In the previous life, the 12-winged ultimate dark corpse king was already the final boss, and even the blue star was destroyed in its hands. But Lin Feng knew that behind the zombie camp, there were many terrifying existences that had never even shown their faces. On the day of the final battle, the entire moon turned into a blood-red pupil. Eyes full of malice stare at every living being on the blue planet. That blood-red pupil must be an existence that is even higher than the 12-winged ultimate dark corpse king. However, based on the original strength of the human camp, I can't even get a glimpse of its true face. This time, it's different. Lin Feng clenched his fists tightly. This time, he was going to blow the heads off these bastards. Lin Feng, what happened? Have all those people outside turned into zombies? At this time, Dian flew back with the three girls. Chen Zi asked worriedly, will we be eaten too? Lin Feng smiled faintly and said, Chen Zi, I seem to have promised to give you 50 million. Chen Zi was stunned for a moment and nodded. You also said that if I give you 50 million, you will never bother me again. Lin Feng took out a full 50 million in cash from the other dimensional space, and then said in a playful tone, the money is all here, you can leave. Hearing this, Chen Zi's face suddenly turned pale. Brother Lin Feng, I don't want this money anymore. Please, let me stay with you. Besides, I'm not useless. I seem to have awakened a superpower, look. Chen Zi was afraid that Lin Feng would drive her away and she would have to face the zombies alone in the future. She didn't even look at the 50 million and immediately showed her newly awakened superpowers. Chen Zi frowned slightly, looking like she was concentrating very hard. Then, the shadow under her feet suddenly stood up and turned into the shape of a sharp blade. As Chen Zi controlled it, it danced rapidly in the air. This sharp blade transformed from a shadow accidentally touched the table and actually cut the solid wood table directly in the middle. The cut was surprisingly smooth. Lin Feng, that's not right. He clearly remembered that Chen Zi didn't awaken her talent in her previous life. She didn't even live long. On the second day after the apocalypse, he was eaten by a group of zombies. How come he not only awakened his talent but also looked so powerful? Control shadows. This is at least an S-level talent, right? Ahem, what level is your talent? Lin Feng coughed twice and asked. It seems to be an S-level talent called Shadow Blade. It allows you to control your own shadow to fight. Chen Zi replied quickly. Shadow Blade, not bad. Lin Feng nodded, and then, as if he had thought of something, he looked at Lei Shuyu with a strange expression and asked, haven't you also awakened superpowers? Lei Shuyu's pretty face flushed slightly, and she hummed softly, saying, well, I also awakened a superpower, but it's not as powerful as Sister Zi's. Let me show you. After Lei Shuyu finished speaking, she opened her red lips and let out a chanting sound. Then, a circular halo slowly rose with her as the center. This halo first emits a soft green light, giving people a feeling like a spring breeze. Then, the halo turned red, which instantly made people's blood boil. Then, the halo turned blue. Standing in it, I felt my thoughts become smoother, as if my intelligence had been greatly enhanced. My awakened talent is the SS level, Halo, which currently provides 3 different benefits to teammates. The stronger the teammate, the greater the benefit. Lei Shuyu introduced. It turned out to be a rare auxiliary talent. And its SS level. If it can be properly developed and utilized, Lin Feng's combat power can be raised to a higher level on the original basis. Could it be that these two women are both hiding their true abilities? The answer is obviously no. The real reason. But no matter what, it's always a good thing. There are 2 more awakened people above S level beside Lin Feng. Is this kind of superpower called a talent? Wen Shanshan, who had been silent until now, suddenly asked. Yes, those who have awakened their talents are generally called awakened ones. We are the last hope of the human camp. Lin Feng nodded and said. I seem to have awakened my talent as well. Wen Shanshan said while gritting her teeth. Wow, Sister Wen, you've also awakened your talent. Sister Wen is so cool, her awakened talent must be very strong, right? Chen Zi looked at Wen Shanshan with admiration. Among those present, only Lin Feng and Wen Shanshan looked relatively strong. Chen Zi, the green tea girl, naturally would not miss the opportunity to curry favor with Wen Shanshan. Wen Shanshan said a little embarrassedly, "Yeah, it's SSS level unlimited firepower." Quote, "SSS level, that should be the strongest, right? Sister Wen, look at those people outside now, they have all turned into zombies. Don't keep thinking about catching brother Lin Feng. Let's unite and find a way to escape, right?" Chen Zi said in a coquettish tone. Wen Shanshan frowned slightly and gritted her teeth, as if she was struggling with her conscience. On the ground, there were brothers who had followed her through thick and thin, but now, they were all dead, and only she was still alive. When facing the zombies, she didn't even dare to move. "I can only watch my teammates die. Guilt, resentment, and relief, these emotions accumulated in my chest." Wen Shanshan's heart was extremely conflicted. She is not worthy of being the captain. The person who deserves to die the most should be her. Bang! At this moment, a warm hand patted her shoulder. When Wen Shanshan heard Lin Feng's words, her eyes widened in shock. She couldn't believe her ears. She raised her head and her eyes met Lin Feng's. Lin Feng's face was well defined, revealing a firmness and courage, but his eyes were filled with endless tenderness. Lin Feng continued, "Captain Wen, we cannot let our fallen brothers' sacrifice be in vain. Although their lives are gone, their spirits will always be with us. We must carry their hope and faith and live on with strength, not only for ourselves but for them as well. Only in this way can we have a chance to end this absurd apocalypse." Chapter 19. Eat a big meal and post a circle of friends. Wen Shanshan's pupils trembled slightly and she was speechless for a long time. At last, the corners of her mouth rose slightly. He gave a mysterious smile. A pair of silver bracelets appeared in her hands at some point, and with a click, they were handcuffed to Lin Feng's hands. Lin Feng's smile froze and he asked, "Captain Wen, what do you mean?" Wen Shanshan smiled and said, "Lin Feng, the end of the world may have really arrived, but as long as law and order exist, I have the right to arrest you. I want to see with my own eyes what this world has become. Your few words alone cannot explain anything. Let's go. Today, because you saved my life, I'll forgive you this time. But next time, if I see you again, I will never let you go." Wen Shanshan suddenly let go of her hand, turned around and walked out. Watching the handsome figure in the black tight special combat uniform leave, Lin Feng smiled helplessly. "You want to handcuff him with just a pair of silver bracelets?" With just a slight exertion of force on the wrist, the seemingly hard silver bracelet became covered with tiny cracks. The next moment, it broke into several pieces. "Brother Lin Feng, Sister Wen won't be in danger, right?" Chen Zi asked worriedly. Lin Feng smiled and said, "No, she's very powerful. The ones in danger are probably the zombies that bump into her." "Oh, then, should we escape from here as well? Then, we'll find other survivors, set up gathering places, research vaccines, and so on. I've seen zombie movies that way." Chen Zi thought for a moment and said. Lin Feng glanced at her and said, "At the moment, there aren't many places safer than where we are, so let's stay. But we definitely can't stay in this presidential suite. Let's go to another one. On the top floor, there are actually 2 presidential suites. However, one of them is often closed to the public." Lin Feng and the others easily arrived at the suite next door. The space here is spacious, the temperature is moderate, the lighting is bright, and the sofa and bed are big and soft. The 2 girls and Dian were all very satisfied. After the energy in the body was consumed, Dian returned to its original appearance. The 2 girls played with it for a while, and then night fell quietly. Lin Feng took out a luxurious banquet from the other dimension, which looked as if it had just been cooked. The 3 people and the beast gathered around the dining table and started eating. Wow, Australian lobster, crispy roast suckling pig, steamed scallops with garlic. This is too luxurious. Chen Zi ate while crying, her face full of emotion. Under normal circumstances, these may not be a big deal and you can eat them at the hotel. But what time is it now? Now, it is the end of the world. Ordinary people live a precarious life just to survive. I was thankful to have something to eat, so how could I dare to ask for such a sumptuous meal? Based on this standard, even if I eat 3 meals a day for 10 years, I'll still have some left over. Of course, in addition to banquets, I also have a lot of Japanese food, steak, curry, etc. You can change your taste at any time. Lin Feng killed a big Orochi by himself, and said in a clear voice. Chen Zi, Lei Shuyu. The Indian, Master, I'm a little uncomfortable with human food. The feast that everyone thought was a feast was, in the Indian's eyes, just average. Lin Feng snapped his fingers, and a whole slaughtered ox appeared in the open space. The Indian's eyes lit up, and she pounced over and started eating. In this way, the three people and the beast happily enjoyed their dinner. Halfway through the meal, Chen Zi suddenly took out her cell phone and took a few photos. Then she stuck out her tongue at Lin Feng and asked, Brother Lin Feng, can I post a circle of friends? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and smiled. I guess no one is checking their moments right now, right? Oh, I'm just recording my life. Chen Zi chuckled, moved her fingers across the screen, and posted a message to her moments. It was so scary today. A lot of people outside turned into zombies and were about to bite us. But luckily, Brother Lin Feng protected me, so I got away with it. I'll treat everyone to a big meal tilde. Below the text, there is a 9-grid photo. In addition to close-ups of each dish, there is also a selfie in which Chen Zi is making a big, yeah, gesture, with a table full of luxurious food and Lin Feng silently gnawing on a lobster in the background. I have to say that Chen Zi, this little green tea, is still very green tea. There was no mention of Lei Shuyu in the entire circle of friends, as if it was just her and Lin Feng, enjoying a big meal alone. Ding, ding, ding. Unexpectedly, Chen Zi's circle of friends exploded instantly. In a blink of an eye, it received dozens of likes and countless replies. Wow, Zi, where are you? Can you come and save me? Chen Shalwa, I want to have a big meal too. Can you please leave some for me? Even the leftover bones are fine. I'm not picky. Who is Lin Feng? Is he Pantiantian's bootlicker? Zi, why are you with him and calling him brother? But it doesn't matter. Can you come and save me? We are trapped in the second religion's laboratory, and there are zombies outside. What happened? Did a biohazard break out? I've been hiding in the bathroom all day and I'm so hungry I'm about to eat shit. Why do you have a big meal? Wait, isn't your boyfriend the campus douchebag from the sports academy? Why is he hanging out with other guys? Brother Ma, come and get your green hat. Seeing these comments, Chen Zi's heart started pounding. She looked up cautiously, her eyes like a frightened deer, full of tension and anxiety. Her eyes quickly swept over Lin Feng, but she didn't dare to stay too long, for fear that he would notice that she was peeking. However, when she found that Lin Feng was not looking at her, she felt a sense of relief. She breathed a sigh of relief, as if she had just escaped from a thrilling adventure. What are these bad guys commenting about? What if Brother Lin Feng sees this and misunderstands? What Brother Ma? He is pursuing me and I haven't even agreed yet. How did he become my boyfriend? Chen Zi deleted the comments while replying to other comments and continued to show off. Oh, it's nothing. I was just lucky and happened to meet Brother Lin Feng. He said that he would let me have such a feast every day in the future. Don't be discouraged, everyone. I believe you will be rescued. No more talking. After dinner, I still have to massage Brother Lin Feng's shoulders. Chen Zi felt very happy. Although she used to look down on Lin Feng because he had no money. But now, things are different from the past. Lin Feng not only has super strong strength, but also has countless resources. In the end times, this is a super thigh. The most important thing is to hold on to this thigh tightly. Fortunately, Brother Lin Feng doesn't hate her. Chapter 20. Everyone is starving to death, and you are the only one who eats oran. Brother Lin Feng, are you tired? How about I give you a shoulder massage? After recognizing her own identity and situation, Chen Zi became particularly adept at handling things. The white, tender and delicate arms pressed on Lin Feng's shoulders, feeling a little cold, yet a little warm. Lin Feng couldn't help but look at Chen Zi twice more. This green tea is really green tea. But green tea is also really pleasing to the eye. Lei Shuyu looked at Chen Zi and Lin Feng being intimate, and noticed something was wrong. Chen Zi and Lin Feng are too close. Lei Shuyu also felt a sense of crisis. However, Lei Shuyu is not a green tea, and is not as adept at it as Chen Zi. Brother Lin Feng, let me give you a leg massage. Lin Feng was a little surprised. This was not Lei Shuyu's character. He glanced at Chen Zi beside him and immediately understood that Lei Shuyu was jealous. On the other side, the Jiangning University campus was a hellish scene. The end of the world came too suddenly and no one was prepared. 80% of the teachers and students were infected and turned into zombies, and most of the remaining survivors became food for the zombies. There were traces of blood and corpses everywhere on the campus. Many people were torn to pieces by zombies before they were even infected. The class group of Class 3, Grade 2, Jiangning University, originally had more than 50 active members, but now there are only about 10 people left. As time went by, the first difficulty they faced slowly emerged. Everyone is really hungry. The counselor couldn't help but lick his lips and sent a message to Lin Feng. Lin Feng, are you there? At this critical moment, we must unite as one. You have so much food, why not send it to school and share it with everyone? There are zombies outside. It's too dangerous. We can't go out. You're a delivery man. Isn't it a delivery man's job to deliver things to everyone? The top floor of the Imperial Hotel, the presidential suite. Lin Feng noticed the new message from 99+ on his phone. After taking a look at the messages in the class group, Lin Feng found it a little funny. It's the end of the world, and you're still using moral blackmail here. Why should I give you my things? Too lazy to pay attention. After typing the word, asleep, Lin Feng immediately closed the group chat and turned on Do Not Disturb. The next morning, as time goes by, the situation on the Jiangning University campus is gradually deteriorating. At first it was just a matter of skipping a meal, but as time went on, hunger began to erode my sanity. The first to be hit was Xi Meng, who had not had a drop of water for a day. I'm almost dying. Brothers, do you have anything to eat? I'll pay 10 times the price, no, 100 times. Another group member was also so worried that he didn't sleep all night. What did Lin Feng and Chen Zi do in the hotel last night? No, I only care that there's no Oren left. Seeing that everyone actually believed a forwarded post on WeChat Moments, Xi Meng's temper immediately flared up like a lit bomb. His fists were clenched tightly, his nails dug deep into his palms, and he seemed ready to punch out at any moment to vent his dissatisfaction. That loser Lin Feng is bullied by him every day in the dormitory. He owed Lin Feng more than 1,000 yuan, but Lin Feng didn't dare to ask him for it. With a Lin Feng like this, can he live better than him now? No way, you guys believe a photoshopped picture. Lin Feng is just a pretentious guy, he's nothing but a nobody. At Lin Feng, you loser, come out now, make a video, and let everyone see how miserable you are right now. Inside the Imperial Hotel, Lin Feng laughed out loud when he saw such a strange request. Chapter 21 The Chosen One, Ma Fei. Since the other party asked so sincerely, Lin Feng had no reason to refuse. Immediately open the group video function on your phone. As soon as the video was connected, the class group exploded instantly. Oh my god, it's actually true. It's really Chen Zi, and there's another beauty with a score of over 90. Holy shit, is that Lei Shuyu from the Dance Academy? Lei Shuyu, the celestial school beauty. Lin Feng, you deserve to die. I'm eating lemons. Xi Meng still couldn't believe what he saw, and continued to sneer. Hey, the video is well composed. Do you dare to let Chen Zi say something? No matter what kind of photo editing or special effects are used, he will never speak. Chen Zi, who was sleeping, opened her eyes in confusion and found that Lin Feng and she had already opened up some distance between them, so she immediately moved closer. Well, brother Lin, what are we having for breakfast? Chen Zi's words refuted Xi Meng's doubts and touched the hearts of all the students in the class group. They had nothing to eat and were dizzy and hungry. Would Lin Feng and the others have anything to eat? Just some abalone. Quote. Lin Feng snapped his fingers, and a steaming luxurious meal appeared on the table in the presidential suite. I'll eat first, you guys play. Lin Feng hung up the video and was not interested in continuing to chat in the group. But at the end of the video, the luxurious meal and the telekinesis made the class group completely explode. Such a sumptuous meal, 3 people can't finish it, right? Brother Lin Feng, do you need a trash can? Pour it into my mouth. Is this a special ability? No wonder Lin Feng can even handle Chen Zi and Lei Shuyu. Lin Feng, Dad, save me. But no matter how much they flooded the screen, Lin Feng did not respond. Lin Feng had already set up the class group to receive messages, but not reminders. After seeking help to no avail, the classmates in the class group directed their anger at Xi Meng. Xi Meng, it's all your fault. It's because you made Lin Feng angry that he didn't come to save us. Aren't you Lin Feng's roommate? Go and apologize to him. After he forgives you, he will definitely come to rescue us. Shi Meng felt a burning pain on his face after being slapped. Let me apologize to Lin Feng. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. But now he has incurred public anger and dares not stay in the class group anymore. But he was really hungry, and Shi Meng had no idea what to do. Inside the Daihao Hotel on the other side. After the meal, Lin Feng was not idle either. The zombies in the hotel had been cleared out by Lin Feng yesterday. But there will still be new infected people, and zombies from outside will wander over. These minions cannot bring him fighting points or other benefits, so he is too lazy to take action. Now, we can only wait for 2 days until the Corpse Kings begin to appear one after another, and then launch a strong attack to collect fighting points. So, these zombies. Chen Ziyi, Lei Shuyu, have you almost mastered your talents? Your mission today is to clear out all the zombies in the hotel. Lin Feng is not a nanny, nor does he keep idle people. When Chen Ziyi thought of the zombies yesterday, her face suddenly turned pale. No, I'm scared. Brother Lin Feng, you're so powerful, there's no need for us to take action, right? Chen Ziyi took Lin Feng's hand and acted coquettishly, but this time, Lin Feng dodged her. Anyone who fails to kill 10 zombies before noon will not get lunch. Chen Ziyi started crying, but after realizing that acting like a spoiled child was useless in front of Lin Feng, she stopped crying. Okay, but you'll protect us, right? Dian will follow you. It is now the second day of the apocalypse. Only some ordinary zombies appear. It is not a big deal. It just happens to be a good novice village. Moreover, Chen Ziyi and Lei Shuyu have awakened talents of high ratings. If they are not mastered quickly, they will only become a burden to Lin Feng. Compared to Chen Ziyi, Lei Shuyu is much more well-behaved. Well, we'll try our best. After everything that happened before, Lei Shuyu already believed in Lin Feng unconditionally. Tisk, green tea. Looking at Lei Shuyu's well-behaved appearance, Chen Ziyi muttered softly. But the competitive spirit was also aroused. Isn't it just killing zombies? I've definitely killed more than Sister Lei. Dian stretched and followed the two women out without changing. Since the owner wants to use this place as a base. The little brother, whose half-body was bitten, was holding his right foot tightly with one hand, while the other zombies were using his body as a ladder and were slowly climbing up. Fuck, let go of me, don't hurt me. Ma Fei felt desperate and kept waving his arms downwards. Just then, an air blade that was invisible to the naked eye was suddenly thrown out by Ma Fei with a swing of his arm. A zombie that was about to reach Ma Fei was suddenly cut in half, and a large amount of thick blood plasma spurted out. S-level talent, air slash. Ma Fei couldn't believe his eyes and waved his arms again. The powerful wind pressure condensed into a spatial blade as thick as a thumb, and several zombies were cut in half in an instant. Is it really air slash? Have I awakened? Even though it was cut in half, the zombie did not die immediately. Instead, it crawled towards Ma Fei with only half of its body. But Ma Fei straightened up. Chapter 22, The End of the World, It's Really Great. Brother Ma. At this time, Xuanzi, who had lost half of his body, was still holding onto Ma Fei's trouser legs and refused to let go. A strong fishy smell suddenly filled Ma Fei's nostrils. Damn, this is disgusting to me. But Ma Fei's stomach was empty, and he just vomited some sour water in a panic. Then, he swung out an air blade without hesitation. He directly cut the struggling Xuanzi in half between his eyebrows. I'm starving. I have to find something to eat quickly. I'm so talented, I can just kill zombies like that without any hesitation. Hey, S-level, that should be the top level, right? That Lin Feng, he should have awakened some talent, but looking at his miserable appearance, he's lucky to be AC rank. How can he compare to my S rank? After awakening his talent, Ma Fei became much more calm. He rarely encountered zombies. With a whoosh of air blades, the zombies were killed. It was not only efficient, but also very cool. Well, he feels like the protagonist of a Japanese anime. Fuck, look, that's Ma Fei, the school hunk from the track and field club. How can he be so awesome? He just reaches out and the zombie head flies away. Fuck, this is even more outrageous than what's in anime. Brother Ma, can you save me? Along the way, many students who were hiding discovered Ma Fei. They were shocked and asked him for help. Ma Fei enjoyed this feeling very much and saved everyone he could. Brother Ma, you really have a broad mindset. Unlike that Lin Feng, who is all boastful and only knows how to enjoy himself. Just wave your hand and those zombies will be chopped into pieces. Brother Ma, are you the savior? Brother Ma, we'll all follow you from now on. Seeing that the team had more and more people and the flattery was getting more and more, Ma Jie became more and more convinced that he was the savior. Immediately, I opened WeChat and posted a circle of friends. Dear students of Zhongda University, don't be afraid. Please leave your address. I, Ma Fei, will come to rescue you one by one. Don't worry about food. I've already gone to the supermarket on campus. They have quite a bit of stock here. After posting on his moments, Ma Fei blew open the door of the campus supermarket with an air slash. But unexpectedly, there were people here. The cashier lady in the supermarket miraculously escaped the disaster. Classmate, are you okay? What happened outside? The aunt asked with concern. There are still people alive. There was a hint of displeasure in Ma Fei's eyes. If there were no survivors, all the supplies in the supermarket would be his. I don't know how long the apocalypse will last. He must get these supplies. How many things are left in the supermarket? How much are they in total? Ma Fei asked. There are still about 100,000 worth of things in the supermarket. The old lady said with lingering fear as she looked at the door that was blasted open by Ma Fei. But I don't dare to do this business anymore. If you're hungry, just grab something to eat. It's not easy for everyone, so I won't charge you any money. After all, money can be earned again if it is lost. But in this doomsday, if you lose your life, you lose everything. 100,000. Why is it so expensive? I only have more than 20,000. Ma Fei frowned. But on second thought, it seems necessary to buy it with money. Don't you have air slash? Auntie, it's the end of the world now. I'm the savior, and everyone should listen to me, right? All the supplies in the supermarket belong to me. How about I distribute them? The supermarket lady immediately shook her head. There are zombies everywhere outside now, and these supplies are our hope for survival. She couldn't consume much by herself, so she didn't mind sharing some. But Ma Fei opened his mouth and asked for all the supplies. Classmate, this won't do. The things in the supermarket cost tens of thousands of dollars. And even if we're distributing supplies, shouldn't your teacher be the one doing it? Ma Fei sneered, waved his arm lightly, and an air blade instantly cut the supermarket counter in half. One of the ant's ears was also cut off. Even if I covered it with my hands, blood continued to spill out. Seeing the blood, Ma Fei felt a little panicked. The expressions of the people following Ma Fei also changed. I just wanted to cut off the counter and threaten her. It seems that the proficiency of my talent is still too low. But after seeing the ant's retreating steps and the fear in her eyes, Ma Fei actually felt a little bit of pleasure in his heart. Yeah, that's right. Wouldn't it be better if you just behaved as you pleased? Now, I am the savior, this is an order, not a negotiation. Why should I follow your rules? I should be the one making the rules. Ma Fei grabbed the old lady, dragged her out of the supermarket, and left her with the zombies outside. Then he took out his cell phone, took a photo of the old lady and the zombie, and uploaded it to his moments. Ma Fei typed out the caption proudly. It's the end of the world, and human civilization is facing tremendous challenges. To survive, we should integrate all our resources. And this woman selfishly wants to take over the supermarket. Therefore, as the savior, I sentence her to death. From now on, I have the final say in all of Zhong University. Anyone who disobeys will suffer the same fate as Auntie. After posting the update, Ma Fei started to pick things at random from the shelves. 2 buckets of instant noodles, a bag of sausages, and 2 packs of cigarettes. For someone who has been hungry for 2 days, this is a feast. However, when the image of Lin Feng and Chen Zi appeared in his mind, his eyes instantly turned cold. Fuck, Lin Feng, just wait for me. Ma Fei clenched his fists tightly. Men's dormitory, toilet. Shi Meng saw Ma Fei's circle of friends and was shocked. Immediately sent a message to Ma Fei. Brother Fei, please save me. I'm in the bathroom of room 602, floor 6, building 3. I know the whereabouts of Lin Feng and Chen Zi. Then, Shi Meng forwarded Ma Fei's circle of friends to the class group. What kind of waste is Lin Feng? Our Ma Jie is the real savior. See, killing zombies is as easy as killing chickens. The class group immediately became excited. The classmates who were praising Lin Feng just now immediately started to praise Ma Fei mindlessly. Only student council member Li Yuan remained silent. Of course, no one cared about her. Because when the apocalypse breaks out, being disconnected is almost equivalent to death. No one knew whether she was diving or had passed away. Ma Fei didn't waste a single mouthful of the instant noodle soup. After drinking it all, he burped. Rescuing people, isn't that just a matter of saving people? Girls with scores above 80 can be saved, but boys can forget about it. Those who have offended me, all wait to be fed to the zombies. On the side, the students who followed him into the supermarket huddled in a corner and shivered. Without Ma Fei's permission, they didn't dare touch anything on the shelves even if they were starving. I am the chosen one, I am the savior. Lin Feng, just wait for me. Everything you have now will soon be mine. Only a strong man like me is worthy of enjoying it. Chapter 23 The Birth of the Corpse King, Ma Fei goes up the mountain. Royal Hotel. Shadow blade, strangle. The shadow under Chen Zi's feet moved like a blade, cutting the zombies in front of her into pieces. It's so cool, just like playing a game. She was a little reluctant at first, but after gradually adapting to her talent, Chen Zi became proactive. Which girl hasn't dreamed of awakening special abilities and roaming the world with a sword? I've killed 30 zombies. How about you, Sister Lei? Lei Shuyu, who was following behind Chen Zi, blushed instantly and said with her head down. I only killed 10. My aura is a support talent. It has no offensive power. The only way to kill zombies is to smash their heads with a wrench. Chen Zi took a deep breath and looked at the slightly deformed wrench in Lei Shuyu's slender and tender hand. Just smash the zombie's head. Sister Shuyu, how many times can your aura increase your power? Awakening talent does not directly change physical fitness. Chen Zi's physical fitness after awakening is still at the level of a normal person. About 20 times. Chen Shuyu said. The other 2 auras also increase speed and defense by 20 times, but only 1 aura can be used at a time. How many? Chen Zi instantly felt that her shadow blade was no longer effective. Is this an SS level talent? It's not fair. Brother Lin Feng is biased. Lei Shuyu was also a little embarrassed and her face blushed. Brother Lin Feng is so good to me. How can I work harder to repay him? Bai Diandian, who followed behind the 2 of them, silently adhered to his professional ethics. I don't understand. I don't comprehend. The human mind is so complex. Bai Diandian has been observing the zombies in the hotel and found a common characteristic. There are differences between these ordinary zombies. It seems to be related to their experiences before being infected. Those strong people will become stronger after becoming zombies, and some zombies seem to still have some instincts left. Also, my brain seems to have become smarter. Bai Diandian scratched his head. All changes occur after signing a contract with the master. I guess this is also because of the owner. Evening. I'm so tired. I finally cleared all the zombies in the hotel. After a hearty meal, Chen Zi stretched her body and lay down on the soft big bed. At this moment, Lin Feng looked at the Jiangning University campus in the distance through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Has the black fog started to form a vortex? Isn't this the second day? The Corpse King is going to be born early. Lin Feng was shocked. Since the strange phenomenon had occurred, the Corpse King would surely be born within 12 hours. This means that a considerable amount of fighting points will soon be credited to your account. Jiangning University campus. The sky was overcast with dark clouds swirling around, and the wind blew up debris and dust into the sky. I'm so hungry, I'm so hungry. Outside the supermarket, the old lady who was being torn apart by the zombies suddenly opened her eyes, and her pupils, which were filled with red bloodshot, turned black in an instant. A zombie in cleaning clothes bit her thigh fiercely, and a section of white bones soon appeared under the bright red flesh. But at this moment, the ant seemed to no longer feel the pain, and her stomach was rumbling. A hunger that went beyond her instincts hit her brain like a sledgehammer. Boom, boom, boom. I'm so hungry, I'm really hungry, I can eat anything. Lao Lu, help me, let me eat you, thank you, thank you. The old lady recognized the zombie in the sanitation uniform, and she held his head in her arms and started chewing on it. Sanitation worker, Lao Lu struggled desperately, but couldn't get out at all. After being infected and becoming a zombie, the body's motor functions are more or less enhanced. Those with more severe infection can even climb walls and fly. Those with a lesser degree of skill can easily break Bolt's sprint record. However, old Lu was held in the ant's arms like a powerless child, unable to break free. He could only watch helplessly as piece of his flesh, after piece of it, was eaten into the ant's stomach. Ellipsis. It's late at night. The sky is covered with dark clouds and it seems that it is going to rain. Ma Fei rubbed his waist and woke up from the makeshift bed. The end of the world is really great. Ma Fei didn't know what was happening outside the supermarket. At that moment, he raised his hand and counted the number of people. 2 good friends and 3 big athletes from the track and field club. Among them was Xi Meng. Well, not bad. This amount of manpower is enough to raid the Emperor Hotel. Just take over the Imperial Hotel. Luxurious presidential suite. Chen Ziyi. Lei Shuyu. There is also a seafood dinner. Everything will be his. He, Ma Fei, is the savior who has awakened his S-level talent. You deserve this. As for Lin Feng, destroy with a snap of fingers. Ma Fei felt good about himself, clapped his hands and said. Are everyone's phones fully charged? Come on, follow me to the Imperial Hotel and start a live broadcast to kill Lin Feng. Xi Meng was the first to respond. Brother Ma is mighty. We've been annoyed with that brat Lin Feng for a long time. They also saw Chen Ziyi's circle of friends. Chen Ziyi and Lei Shuyu are 2 extremely beautiful women. There is also a luxurious seafood dinner. It's the end of the world, so why is Lin Feng living better than them? Ma Fei nodded with satisfaction and instructed Xi Meng to start the live broadcast. Then he led everyone out of the supermarket. The purpose of live streaming is simple. I just want everyone in Zhongda to see it. How did Ma Fei kill Lin Feng? And Lin Feng's embarrassed look after being defeated. Then, it is to further establish your own prestige. Ellipsis. Dark clouds were swirling in the sky. Only scattered starlight illuminates the earth. GGGG. I don't know when it started. A flock of crows flew back and forth in the sky. Ma Fei led everyone towards the Emperor Hotel on the mountain. Brother Ma, look. The crows' necks are broken and their internal organs are exposed. Damn, even the crows have turned into zombies. It seems the situation is quite serious this time. It's been so long, and there's still no sign of the rescue team. The people behind him were talking. But Ma Fei didn't care. After awakening his talent, he felt that he and others were no longer in the same world. He seemed to be in a completely new dimension, and everything around him became clear and real. This feeling made him excited, but at the same time it also made him feel lonely and helpless. For ordinary people, this is the end of the world, it is hell. They live in fear and despair, facing the threat of death and hunger every day. They don't know what the future holds and can only survive. But he possesses extraordinary abilities and can easily deal with various dangers. But in the eyes of the awakened, the next world will be heaven. The strong cannot empathize with the weak. The difference between people is sometimes greater than that between people and dogs. Chapter 24 next, it will be very cool. Tisk, no zombie can withstand my air slash. Ma Fei waved his hand casually, and an invisible air blade flew out. A few seconds later, several zombie crows fell to the ground. Ma Fei stepped on the crow, and black pus and blood burst out. Xi Meng quickly captured this scene on the live camera and exclaimed, "Oh my god, isn't Brother Ma so damn handsome? Dealing with zombies is like chopping melons and vegetables. That idiot Lin Feng, how can he compare with Master Ma?" Classmates, don't worry. Once we get to the Imperial Hotel and grab all of Lin Feng's supplies, Brother Ma will come with us and rescue everyone one by one. When the time comes, you can eat whatever you want. Brother Ma is the only god in our Zhong University. It was praised so much. Ma Fei lit a cigarette proudly, took a puff, put his hands in his pockets, and continued walking towards the Emperor Hotel. The Daihao Hotel is only 2 streets away from the Zhongyan University campus, and can be reached in half an hour on foot. Along the way, we encountered many blind zombies. They were all dealt with by Ma Fei. The popularity of the live broadcast room also soared. Brother Ma, I'm in the men's restroom on the top floor of Building 3, in the 2nd stall. I'm watching your livestream on an empty stomach, doing a few carnivals, and trying to make myself familiar to you, Brother Ma. I wish Brother Ma a successful start. From now on, Zhong University will have to rely on you to take charge of the overall situation. Brother Ma, you are our savior. In the Class 3 group of sophomore year, many classmates began to mock Lin Feng. Lin Feng, you're done. Brother Ma has already brought people to deal with you. Who told you to be so selfish? Are you kidding me? Hee, clean your neck quickly and wait. Lin Feng looked at the messages in the class group. I am also a little speechless. From his point of view, there is actually no need to pay attention to this group of idiots. However, the essence of the apocalypse is, after all, a struggle between the human camp and the zombie camp. Even in a crowd, there are bound to be a few idiots. But most people are kind by nature. It is not right to kill with one blow. After thinking for a moment, he typed a reply. Oh, then did that brother Ma you were talking about save you? One sentence broke everyone's defenses and fell into silence. After several seconds, the fat woman Shui from the class replied, Brother Ma, that's too late. Unlike you, you're just a selfish guy. You deserve to be punished by Brother Ma. Hee hee. Lin Feng replied with a hee hee, and stopped looking at his phone. In the early days of the apocalypse, zombies were actually very easy to deal with. Their motor functions were enhanced, but at the same time they had no brains. As long as they are not extremely unlucky and encounter a zombie king, ordinary people can easily deal with 1 or 2 zombies and then retreat to a safe zone on their own. But these parasites in the group fantasize about others saving them all day long. Why? Am I a young dad? It's the end of the world, brother, and you're still using moral blackmail. Sorry, I have no morals. How should you respond? As for Ma Fei, in Lin Feng's eyes, he is just a clown. However, S-level talent, it seems to be of some use. Then I'll accept it with pleasure. Ellipsis. Why are there so many zombies blocking the road? Brother Ma, there's one in the sewer. There's one on a telephone pole too. Only half of its body is left, and it's still moving. Along the way, Ma Fei's younger brothers let out bursts of exclamations. However, with Ma Fei there, everything went smoothly. No matter what kind of zombie it is, it can be killed with a single blow of air. If one doesn't work, try 2. Just like chopping melons and vegetables. Live broadcast of exploring the apocalypse and killing zombies is so exciting. However, at this moment, a familiar figure suddenly blocked their way. Fuck, that scared me. Isn't this the supermarket lady that Ma Jie executed? Why is she here? Wait. Holy crap, is she eating zombies? The supermarket lady in front of him no longer looked like a human being. Her body was extremely bloated, but her movements were very agile. In the blink of an eye, she had swallowed the 2 zombies wandering on the street into her stomach. As she ate these zombies, her body shape seemed to be changing. A stream of thick pus gushed out from the ear hole of her missing right ear. Thick plasma hung from the corner of her mouth as she grinned at everyone. Disgusting, sickening. Everyone suddenly felt their scalps tingling. Shi Meng sneered, that's hilarious. You're so hungry that you even eat zombies. This is what happens when you don't listen to Master Ma. After hearing this, everyone's expressions relaxed a little. The horrific scene before his eyes was also somewhat dispersed. Ma Fei immediately became unhappy and didn't even bother to look at the supermarket auntie, so he threw an air slash at her. The result was beyond everyone's expectations. This air blade cut off one of Big Mom's arms. But soon, 5 or 6 tiny arms grew out from the broken end. This scene has a strong visual impact. Many people bent over and vomited. The audience in the live broadcast room suddenly forgot about their hunger and vomited acid. The mouth area, so disgusting. What is this? Why are her legs made of zombies? Look, there's a huge crack on her stomach, and 2 rows of baby-like arms, like teeth. The supermarket lady had pus in her eyes and looked at Ma Fei with empty eyes. Sizzle. A shrill roar suddenly came from the mouth of the supermarket ant in her abdomen, and she locked onto Ma Fei. Ma Fei was also startled and threw out 3 air blades in succession. Damn it, I was scared to death. It's just a bigger zombie. How could it possibly escape my air slash? If you can handle 1, can you handle 3? Die. I've taken all the photos. Next, it's going to be very handsome. Ma Fei concentrated his mind, crossed his hands in front of his chest, and suddenly swung out 2 more air slashes. Then he raised his right hand high, as if judging, and slashed out again. As his proficiency increases, Ma Fei becomes more and more adept at mastering his talent. 3 air slashes, 2 in front and 1 in the back, landed on the supermarket auntie, bringing out large amounts of pus and blood. Even the ant's internal organs are clearly visible. But the ant did not die immediately. I'm so hungry. I'm so hungry. I want to eat. The supermarket lady suddenly grabbed the half-eaten zombie and continued to bite it. But there was indeed an uproar in the live broadcast room. Is this zombie talking? Her wounds are healing. She can actually eat other zombies to restore her health. Could this old lady have mutated into a corpse king? After eating half a zombie, all the damage caused by Ma Fei was healed. Sizzle. The auntie moved violently, tearing the skin on her abdomen and making the mouth on her abdomen bigger. At the same time, all the zombies within a radius of several miles looked over here at the same time. The thick dark clouds in the sky seemed to have found some outlet. They began to gather together, accompanied by a flock of crows. At this time, a blood-red moon emerged from the dark clouds. The entire campus is stained with a layer of apocalyptic luster. Chapter 25, Fighting the Corpse King. Brother Ma, what should we do? The younger brother behind Ma Fei was already a little scared. The air slash, which was always successful, suffered a setback for the first time. Ma Fei didn't believe it and threw out another air slash. But this time, the air slash only left a shallow mark on the skin of the ant zombie. Something's wrong. Ma Fei's heart was pounding. Without air slash, he was nothing. The tragic scene of Xuanzi's death appeared in front of him. Ma Fei felt a chill and looked back to his previous position. The old lady zombie was crawling towards him in a strange posture. Fortunately, she has no legs and can't catch up with him. Everyone, don't panic. Something's wrong here. Let's take another route. Ma Fei's younger brother, Shi Meng, pulled the corner of Ma Fei's clothes and said in a trembling voice. Ma, look around, there are so many zombies surrounding us. At this time, 3 zombies had entered the live broadcast room's field of vision. Ma Fei threw out an air slash and cut the 3 zombies into pieces, and he regained a bit of confidence. Haha, it's just a small zombie. It's nothing compared to my protagonist. But the students in the live broadcast room couldn't laugh anymore. Master Ma, there are more and more zombies around. Also, the zombie behind you seems to be getting faster and faster. Ma Fei looked back and saw that the zombie ant's originally thin hands had become very strong at some point. It actually stood up and moved forward quickly. Looking at the zombie arms on her abdomen, Ma Fei suddenly realized something. This damn thing seems to be able to devour other zombies to evolve. As if to verify Ma Fei's guess, the ant zombie grabbed a zombie and bit off its thigh. The empty lower body of the ant zombie actually began to wriggle, as if it was about to grow legs. Ma Fei's scalp suddenly felt numb. Hurry, run. Without caring about his image on the live broadcast screen, Ma Fidong sped up and ran towards the Daihao Hotel. He is an awakened one, and before awakening he was the ace of the track and field club. He has a physique different from ordinary people and runs very fast. And the younger brothers behind him were complaining bitterly. In the blink of an eye, someone was pulled into the zombie group, and a teeth-grinding chewing sound was heard. Ma, please run slower. Shi Meng broke out in a cold sweat. But fortunately, it seems that the ant zombie's only target is Ma Fei. He disdains these little minions. Otherwise, without Ma Fei's protection, they would have died long ago. Ellipsis. On the top floor of the Imperial Hotel, in the presidential suite. Looking at the rolling clouds not far away and the blood-red halo gradually approaching the Emperor Hotel. Lin Feng said calmly, the Corpse King has been born, and is actually moving towards the Emperor Hotel. And this good thing that comes right to your door. Daihao Hotel, a commercial street not far from the main gate. In the live broadcast room, the atmosphere took a sharp turn for the worse. Oh my god, the zombies are gathering more and more. Is there going to be a zombie outbreak? This scene is even more exciting than the movie, World War Z. I wish it were fake. It's over, Brother Ma has been held back, the Corpse King is about to catch up. Ma Fei turned around suddenly and saw the old lady zombie lying on a telephone pole not far behind him in a strange posture. In the blink of an eye, it jumped into the air in front of him. Damn it, you bunch of idiots, help me stop her. Ma Fei barely managed to throw out a few air slashes, but the fatigue in his body became more and more intense. There are restrictions on the use of talents by awakened ones. Ma Fei had previously consumed too much energy in his quest to show off, and now the speed of his air slash slowed down and its accuracy became worse and worse. Brother Ma, you think too highly of us. Asking us to stop the Corpse King is like delivering food. The remaining brothers also had no words to express their suffering. In just a short while, they had lost 2 people. In addition to the Corpse King, there is also a tide of corpses that is gradually gathering and forming a huge force that will soon drown them. Now it's too late to regret, and it's impossible to advance or retreat. Ma Fei gritted his teeth, grabbed a younger brother's shoulder, and threw him towards the old lady zombie. The huge impact force caused Ma Fei to fly backwards more than 10 meters. The little brother who collided head-on with the ant zombie didn't even have time to scream before his eyes went dark. The big mouth on the Corpse King's bloated belly bit off the spine, and a lot of blood dripped out. Everyone in the live broadcast room was so scared that they were speechless. Shi Meng, who was holding a mobile phone, looked at the Corpse King so close to him, and his legs went weak. "Brother Ma, save me. Ah." The horrible chewing sound rang out again, Shimeng's cell phone flew aside, and he turned into a cold corpse. Ant Zombie, no, now it should be called the Zombie King. The Corpse King's lower body squirmed. Two thick thighs finally grew out. This scene was captured entirely by the camera of the Throne mobile phone. Ma Fei's teeth chattered, and after the adrenaline rush subsided, only deep fear remained. How so? I am the protagonist, I am the savior. This isn't fair. Why is it that even a zombie transformed from an old lady is so powerful? How can we fight this? Ma Fei subconsciously wanted to escape, but a heavy foot stepped on his chest the next second. The students in the live broadcast room closed their eyes and dared not watch any further. A fishy smell emanated from between Ma Fei's legs, and his voice turned into a crying tone. This tall and strong athlete was once again scared to death. Impossible, how could I die here? No matter who it is, please save me. As long as someone can save me, I'd be willing to eat shit. Seeing that the Corpse King's big mouth was about to fall, Ma Fei burst into tears. At this moment, the body of the Corpse King flew straight out as if it was hit by a speeding car. A young man, wearing a white short-sleeved shirt, had his coat wrapped around his hands, and large amounts of pus and blood were dripping down his coat. Only the back is shown to the camera in the live broadcast room. Everyone in the live broadcast room instantly focused their attention on the man who suddenly appeared. You knocked the Corpse King away with just one punch. So handsome, it's a pity that I can only see his back and can't see his face clearly. We are saved. He is so powerful, he will definitely come to save us. Ma Fei, who survived the disaster, breathed in the fresh air. The zombies around here all went towards that person, but they didn't attack me. This man's sense of oppression is too strong. That Corpse King is actually afraid. If I can pull him over and make him my little brother, wouldn't I be invincible in the apocalypse? That loser Lin Feng, can't he be killed with just one finger?